afternoon, good evening, and good day. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. It's been quite a week. It's been quite a week. Uh, yes. This one said yes all week. Got almost nothing done. Don't have a notebook for the day. Let me change cameras so I can look closer to where you guys are. Let's do this one. There we are. Closer to where you guys are. And so there's no notebook. I had planned to at least like find some stories and like a news cam. There we go. I planned to like find some stories at the last minute and get ready, but this is as quiet as she's been all day from midnight. And let's pull up the chat. Andrews is there. Andrews says, "Good evening. Good evening, Andrews. It's good to see you." And let me pull up another window so that we can. I guess it has to be a window in this browser. The browser sharing works correctly. So do that. Right. My breakfast is over there getting super cold. My medicine's there. I need two hands to do that. And you got the other one bouncing off the walls, driving her mother insane. So that is also fun. Let's back up here this way. Come out. Right in the middle there where I can see it. And I don't know, let's go a little bit inside EPs. I've seen some stuff. She's also kept me off of X and the news sites. I saw a YouTube summary show for the week that it didn't look like there was a whole lot going on this week. There's definitely stories, but not much that would have made it in the notebook. But one thing that seemed interesting was that despite all the best efforts of politicians over here to kill EVs, they've been doing quite well. I don't have specific numbers. We can look them up. Let me start this spaces here so that way everybody can be involved. Also make sure that the Bluetooth is on so that it is not on, so that our folks can participate. It's connecting, it says. Right is connected. Let's do let's chat. Kacey and Friends. April's almost over, April 27th. And thankfully I have it right on the title here, but I do not have it right on the broadcast, and I didn't catch it before I hit the go button. So it says April 20th on the thing. Hopefully people click into it and realize. Okay, so we're going to science, travel, tech. We're not going to allow invisible people. And let's get started. We want to invite, we'll invite Robert and Highlander and Slimy. And send. Okay, it says it started, but I don't see it. That's not good. Oh, that's fun. That's a space I would participate in. They're probably off by the time we're off. All right, so it says I made the space, but I don't see the space. Cannot fetch space. Great. All right, so let's end X, start X, and hope it lets us resume what we just started. Rock and X. Here's something going on behind me there. April 27th. science, tech, travel. Uh, Start. Robert, Mark, Highlander, Slimy. Go. Oh, there it is. Oh no, that's Anders. This is reposted in space. Excellent. Thank you, Anders. Appreciate that. And unmute us. And it says your space, but there's no controls to it. There goes. No, I want to invite people before I can get in it. There it is. Perfect. All right, so we got that much done. What do we want to talk about? What did I say we want to talk about? Let's chat with Kacey and Friends, April 27th. Silly machine. 27th. Enter. No, not enter. Enter makes a new line. There's Robert. So let's bring Robert up to speak. Speak into a microphone. And all right, so we've got the spaces set up. Next, I never did figure out what the delay was. I'm hoping the delay was because they're watching in one place and listening in another. Because if it was just the audio portion, that's not a good thing. But I haven't even looked into any of the video features of this thing yet. I was hoping to have the camera plugged into the microphone interface. It's got a microphone interface. That's what I'm using it for. But it's not a microphone interface. It's a whole video suite, and we have just not achieved that yet. All right, so I wanted to start with inside EVs, but they're giving us that crummy server with the bad certificate, and I've emailed them several times, but they have yet to fix it. I guess I should email the parent company, but I don't know. I'm contacting anybody there. Type it in again. All right, so I guess we'll start with like Clean Technica or something. Basically, I'm going to comment on stuff because, like I said, I was aware of that stuff was going on, but I was not in any of the news. X. I saw that Robert and Slimy sent us some stuff, so we will also look at that. Oh, I spelled their name wrong. I was going to say, do they go to business until the weekend? There we go. Two hands you can spell right. That's fun. Source splash shares. Frame's expertise in reshape farming. I would love to look at that. I'm not sure where it will lead us, so I'm not going to open it yet. This stuff is the most affordable model vehicle exists for reasons nobody. That will be worth discussing. And agrivoltaics. That's one I want to get into personally. Tesla has become the Humpty Dumpty of brand reputation for infinity. I'm curious the premise of that, but I don't think it's where we want to go. I'm not really trying to get into controversy. Solar power surges around the world. That goes into what we were talking about with the EV sales being gangbusters, but despite the best efforts of politicians. We'll talk about that one, get some actual numbers on it. There's a good discussion. Should workplace charging be available? That one up. It's so distracting not to have a screen up here when I've been using that camera all week. Is that Stargate? That's like Stargate. E-bikes would be the best vehicle to take to a Stargate. It is a Stargate. I imagine they would be if you had some sort of like solar portable pack. Otherwise, not necessarily. We'll talk about the Amazon truck. I say the Amazon truck. The Bezos truck. Well, another another Elon story. We don't need that. Oh, our Elon's slimy pet is here. We're gonna add her as co-host. And says transferring FSD is back. And what's that mean? And it means is if you were in the market for a Tesla and you got the money, go ahead and do it. That's what that means. I'm curious to hear Slimy's report on her new to her Model 3. I imagine it's going quite well.
Uh, 3 weeks of ownership as of today.
Yes,
We've used the superchargers twice.
that means you've gone far. Or that you got low on charge and need to keep
Yeah,
going.
it went 2 hours.
Nice.
It spends on a 2 hour drive. We love it. I drive it to school and back from school like every day. I can't wait to get her wrapped purple.
Iridescent purple, like an Easter egg. Uh,
And of course, I sent you stuff I
you
was
did.
finding throughout the week. Yeah. Well, it's not like I was really looking for it. It just sort of popped up in my feed.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay.
that's usually how it works for me. So we got stories on the Slate truck. We got some topics over inside not inside, it's over at Clean Technica. And let me go over to X and a different browser and pull up you guys' messages, and we'll pull some of those topics out as well. Um, where uh, there's Highlander, and that one's unrelated. All right, there's Robert sent us a link, and so we've got the Chinese company announces huge advance in EV battery technology. Let's take a look at that. Typically, these advances in battery technologies are hit or miss for me because of the criteria I use for whether they're worth discussion. Not that I'm snooty, but that we've been burned so many times on the latest and greatest battery tech. So, it's always you know, worth mentioning, hey, so and so has done this, but then we get to dig into it and see what they're really telling us. So let's do that. Place the go.
I think you'll be happy to know that
Yeah,
next month, Elon will focus more on Tesla than Doge.
as he always should have.
Doge will get 1 or 2 days of his time, and that's about it. A week at least, 1 or 2 days a week.
Well, maximizing his legal time, or if that's in response to people's response to him. As I'm curious. Um,
But Tesla will be his main focus.
as always should have been.
Finally. I think he just thinks it's at a stable point
It never has been.
where they don't need him as often.
Well, I take that back. It never has been as long as he doesn't touch anything. But the problem is, just because he's not in the building doesn't mean he's not touching stuff. He was out there touching all sorts of stuff and freaking everybody out on all sides of the social and political and commentary and everything. Any way you could slice it, if it went through him for a spectrum that people care about. He was got his fingers up in there doing this, and and so um and so that meant that he was at Tesla messing with stuff, even though he was not in the building, scaring the engineers, popping out from behind bushes like Steve Jobs throwing iPhones or tablets into the fish tank. All right, so we've got this one here from Robert. Let me get the clickety thing out of my way, and let's move us here to the side. I just like it better that way. Um, so, like I said, Chinese battery company announced another huge advance in EV battery technology, and I think that this political picture is unrelated. They just slammed something in there because they didn't have a picture. Let's see here. Okay, so it's coming from CATL, so that means that they are more trustworthy at what's going on here because they are already one of the world's largest battery companies. So they don't get away with just saying random stuff and hoping it sticks because they've got investors, they've got customers, they've got the Chinese government. So uh, it's not as easy for them to just make up stuff and run. Let's see. What did they say? My screen is set to the full resolution, but I'm leaned back to keep this one asleep. Scoot in closer. See what I can't even scoot in closer. There's crap under my chair. The other one likes to move stuff. Like she wants to see if I can trip or something. I don't know. Okay, there we go. Scoot in. Breakfast over there calling me, get cold. I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna, I guess, at least get the bacon, the bacon. There we go. Very good. So, of the Fakins, like Morningstar the best. It's not a it's just a preference. You did? Oh, in the supermarket. You can't hold it. All right, I'll get mommy to help you because I can't get up. Hurry up! Don't have an accident. You said you need to go to the toilet, right? I heard those excuses. Okay, so let's break this one down here. They've got new brand for their sodium ion batteries. It's called Nextra. Probably not a bad idea. So that way you know for sure which type of tech we're talking about. If it's Nextra, it'll be either lithium iron phosphate or nickel metal, um, some sort of nickel metal. Okay, we got so many nickel metals, and sodium. I don't know. At the moment, sodium is not really a really good choice for batteries, but lithium iron phosphate was also pretty bad when they started with it. And now look at it; it's often preferred if you get the range you need, um, because they're just so much more forgiving and they last so much longer. Um, did you ever figure out what type of batteries you got in there, Slimy?
Uh, no, we didn't really look into that.
When you go to charge, does it say 80 or 90%, or does it say 100?
It recommends us charging to like 100 once a week at least.
So you got the lithium iron
We don't
phosphate.
do that. We just charge it to 80.
Well, if it says to charge to 100, the reason they want that is you've got the lithium iron phosphate from cattle, same company with this battery breakthrough, and so what it does is it recalibrates itself. So maybe not necessarily every week, but at least a couple times a month, let that bad boy hit 100. If that's what.
Yeah, it would hit 100 last weekend. My dad charged it all the way up and then took it
There you go.
on a 2-hour drive. He actually charged up to 100 twice last week. So we don't want to do that too often because Elon recommends up to 80 or 90 and 95.
Right.
People recommend charging to 80.
For the lithiums, because they don't like to be charged 100 almost ever, whereas yours is much more tolerant. It doesn't like zero any more than the other one does. It tries to stay away from zero, but it actually wants to hit 100 every now and then.
I got a nice video of Slate's different colors they offer.
Nice.
It was which sent to you and then put up above and the purple pill in the space. Up above in the jumbotron. Oh my god. That is what I get for hanging out with famous last night. He did a random space last night. It was like 4 hours. It was every hour. He's like, we're gonna land the plane. And it would go for another hour. And it would go for another hour. And he said it. I'm like, are we actually gonna land anytime soon? And we didn't land until like 2:30 in the morning. Almost 2:30 in the morning.
I could have been there.
He's like, I could do another 24-hour space, but I don't want to.
No, don't do another 21 out of turn. Highlander, go ahead. What's up? Good morning. Good afternoon.
Oh, good morning. Hi, gang.
How you doing?
I'm so happy for Swampies. That's what I call her. It's just a brain thing.
Yeah.
It's just exciting to see someone getting a new vehicle and getting to listen all the experiences they're going through with it. since I just walked in the room.
Yeah.
So what city did you fly into, young lady?
We we driven to Columbus and back. I don't know where they went yesterday with her. They took Susie somewhere yesterday. I didn't go because it was a birthday party and I didn't know anyone there. So I did not feel comfortable with going. And then, yeah. Oh, Susie's drove into Columbus and back. And then,
I take it that Susie is what you
wherever they went.
name it.
I named it Susie, yeah. After my mother. It was my mom's nickname from her dad.
That's my mom's name.
So my mom's name was Sue, but they nicknamed her Susie. So I just called the car Susie, and then we're gonna wrap it purple in honor of her as well at some point.
That is, and there's so many positive music references to the name Susie. It fits the character. That's awesome.
I love driving the Tesla Susie home from school and stuff.
What do your classmates think of Susie? Electric vehicle and all that type deal. And
Well,
I got a rough idea where you live, so.
The day I told my lunch table I was gonna get a Tesla, they lectured me and they're like, "Why are you getting rid of a Dodge Dart?" Da, da, da. I'm like, "Okay, fine." And then one of the people I don't get along with, the one day I'm sitting in class, she's like, "Do you want a Tesla now?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then she went, "Well, I saw you drive home in it yesterday." I'm like, "Why at?" I'm like, "Oh well, okay, whatever." And then and then she's like, "I would love to ride in one." And then she said she would love to drive one. I'm like, "You ain't driving mine. You can ride in it, but you ain't driving it." Yeah, did
Yeah,
you see?
driving's, and I went on the last time I was here. It's a whole different experience.
It is.
And I try to stay open minded. My sister won't let me drive her Nissan Aria.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Is it insurance or
Hey,
just general defensiveness?
just her general defenses. It's my new car, even
Yeah.
though it was 2023. It's pretty new, but whatever.
But that's the beauty of.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm the one who got you and my sister in Ann Arbor and EVs.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
So that's the one nice thing about the Tesla experience is that all you need to do is show up there with a driver's license and proof of insurance, and they'll let you drive one of theirs. So she can take a ride in yours, learn a little bit about it, and then she could find the new one.
Yeah, and you can do now 2-day demo drives.
By default, I used to have.
Tesla offers. Yeah, they offer now 2-day demo drives.
Overnight holiday.
I didn't know you were going to bring that up. I
did it all
got
the
it from you, and I used that trick. I've got to go for a big Michigan thing. So the submarine museum, if I could take one moment.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm 100% certified, verified, no big deal. It is kind of a pride thing for me, and we promote STEM, the kids going into scientific and engineering, and so I get to give the submarine tours. But on the way up there, I got to go visit Kelly Sloan, who's the secretary. She basically runs Michigan. They don't even know I'm a member. I used my legal last name and signed up. They didn't ask for a VIN number. So I put down Model 3 thinking this is aspirational because everybody knows I'm searching high and low for a used Model 3 that will fit me.
Yeah.
Pretty member. But if you and your dad, mom can make it up to the Michigan event June 20th, that's awesome. But one of the things I did do, to Casey's point, like I say, I got videos to prove it because my memory's so bad. But yes, everybody can, and that's all I had. I don't even know if they wanted my credit card.
Yeah.
I know I had to do a screenshot of my driver's license, and I'm going to do one more appearance. I'm going to put on my whole full kilt outfit. I'm going to look like I own $1 million at either the Ann Arbor or I'll go back to the Grand Rapids store. And drive it. But once you drive one of these, like I cannot say enough about that full self driving that I did down in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Yeah, we aren't paying that.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I'm just saying because I try to be honest about things with Tesla. Some people, oh, you're Tesla. I'm not a Tesla hater. I love that full self driving. I love that Model X. If I won the lottery tomorrow, I don't have to think about what car I'm buying.
Right. Great car.
It's a beautiful vehicle. It's big, nice.
Yeah.
Tesla has a new account here on X. They added the Tesla Semi account.
Finally.
I'm like, oh no, and then of course, Cybertruck account fashion to do its nice little personification.
Marking it.
I really hope they do that with the Semi account as well because that will be
They'll have
the
to,
best.
They'll have to thread a needle on that one though, because their customers are very corporate stodgy.
And then Cybertruck responded, "Brother, who gave you internet access?"
Wow.
And then someone said, "You did." I'm like,
You
oh
did?
boy. But didn't Semi came first.
I'm on YouTube. I'm sorry to interrupt, Casey.
Go ahead.
So I'm on YouTube, and I deleted a whole bunch of people for good reasons. I kept your account. Don't worry. And I think it's a good, honest platform. I really do.
It is. It's great.
But when the earnings call went up, and I don't know how this magic works, but it immediately, I think it might be because I have a Tesla account.
Yeah.
That video immediately popped up.
The right one or somebody else's?
No. I get all the stuff from Tesla. I mentioned it on one of your shows that I get the same emails everybody else does. I get the same everything because I have a Tesla account.
Exactly.
Because I applied for the job there.
Yeah.
And so I watched it through there, and then I switched over to Brian White's because I truly believe in supporting the younger, up and coming, smaller YouTube channels.
Yeah. Plus, his is so.
And I know
accurate.
every little comment helps. I'd throw the dumbest stuff on a Brian White's channel, and I'm like, you don't even have to respond. And then I found out when they respond back to you, that's also like bonus points for your YouTube channel.
It is. Plus,
I'm like, Brian, just throw a thumbs up, you know?
Yeah. Plus, it also helps yours out if you ever
Don't even waste the time reading anything I put up there. Just
because they'll look back and they'll be like, "Oh, this guy's finally got a video up," and all these other YouTubers they actually respond with him, so he's got to have some sort of value to the platform, and so they give you a little bit of boost on your first couple of videos, and they see that.
And quite frankly, I wanted to meet my friends here. I consider us friends enough, and shout out to Robert over there in Wales. I made friends with the British. Is a grandson of a Scotsman. That took a little. No, they're really nice people, but you know, it's
What
more of a.
Think about the earnings call.
Yeah, well, not like the rest of the automobile industry is doing any better. I did apply for another new job.
Which one?
I've applied at Rivian, and I just put down my $50 deposit to a up and comer. Slate.
Yeah.
Slate truck.
Chat here. We'll pull them up for sure. I'm curious what they've got going on.
Like the earnings call, it wasn't bad, but I feel like Elon could have left out the Doge and tariff part at least.
Yeah.
A little bit more than he did.
have to like I said, like he his actions cause other people to have the same sort of issues, and so the cry for me just doesn't hit well with them. Plus, you know the contention that we're already protesting him and whatnot as well. Like you said, you could have left that out. Go ahead. What about?
Like the first 20 minutes, it
Yeah.
was the Doge talk.
Okay, so I didn't miss anything by being late to the show.
And then after that, he talked about tariffs, and then he was like saying how it won't affect Tesla too much and everything. He's like, now we get a lot of questions about tariffs. I'm like, you brought it up.
Jump right back in bed with the guy who yeah, you quit both of his you quit both of his
Future of Tesla and stuff.
the future is a good way to look. But he quit.
These tariffs affect me personally. I realized it a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
I have the most modest. I mentioned it before. Thank you for allowing me to talk about it. A T-shirt company.
Yeah.
There's only one tiny little place up in New England that makes T-shirts in the United States. I know this for a fact. There's going to be more,
Oh yeah.
but it costs through the roof. Now I'm like, uh-oh, are they? And I use the two best brands, and I confirmed this down in Chattanooga with the other people who had the T-shirts. I'm trying to sell mine. I should have done more work on that, but I just more like shaking hands and saying hi
Yeah.
and get people to sign. But it affects me. Where are my T-shirts going to come from, and how much are they going to cost me now?
Right. And of all the places that can actually make a t-shirt, they all been hit hard. You got like Vietnam, you got Taiwan, you got well, not that Taiwan makes t-shirts that much anymore. Indonesia, you got China, all the
Well,
places
it's
that
gonna affect me because I have to buy my school uniform for next year, and they literally sent us a letter saying you should do it before this date or your price will go up.
yeah, because right now who makes
Because
the
of where
uniforms? We got them exclusively from overseas, unless you're like in a really snooty
Yeah,
school who hand waves
exactly.
bleeding wool. Yeah.
My shaver, in order to hide my gray hair, because I'm getting ageism from certain employers, I went with the bald look. It's popular amongst 20 to 80-year-olds, no problem.
Right.
So I go to buy the replacement shaver head, and it's a Revlon, but I knew I made the wrong choice. But I was trying to save a couple. You can't buy the replacements anymore unless you go on Amazon, and then
Did you get an
it costs
new
more
stock?
than the damn razor.
Yeah, I believe it. So you get like old new stock until they run out. Ooh.
So now I'm gonna end up throwing it away and hanging on to the batteries because they'll be worth something.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, literally or something. But I would hang on to it in case they relocate. I was listening to a
I
story.
guess,
Go ahead.
but I guess like during the earnings call and stuff, he did talk about stepping down from Doge and stuff, and then he said he's focusing more on Tesla next month. And Tesla stock has skyrocketed since then. So
That means there's more turmoil at the company because the man loves some chaos. But at least it's a private company and not you know everything. But um, where was I going with the tariffs? Oh, so I was listening to his story on the last time he did this. He being the current and former president. When he was former president, he did the tariff run on washing machines, and a town not too far from here called Newbury, South Carolina, and CATS, CAT, the construction company, among other things, heavy equipment maker. They had left this town, and it was in shambles. Everybody was like screaming, "What are we gonna do?" Running around, and then the tariffs hit, and Samsung said, "Hey, we want that tractor factory," and they got it, and so that saved their town. And one of the things they asked the business development guy is like, "Hey, so what did you think of the tariffs after that happened?" And he said, "Well, I've got mixed opinions on it, but my job was to get jobs into the town, and I did that." And then, like kind of unprompted, he went in to explain that the washing machines, uh, what could have happened is they could have just kept the washing machines uh, either the same price or dropped the price to lower than the people who have to ship them in, so they could gain that market share. And instead, what happened is they raised the prices to match everybody else's new high prices in the market. And yes, you can now sell them at that price, but you're not now gaining new market share. Like you've got a factory in the U.S. Why not get some reputation for quality and a slightly lower price, and take advantage of that advantage that they've given you? But they would rather more the short term gains. And so then he didn't stop there. He pointed out that the dryers went up in price, even though there was no tariff on the dryers, because people tend to buy them in a set, the washer and the dryer together. Unless you're like me, get a heat pump dryer, which is also a washing machine. It's all in one. But there's no reason for the dryer to have gone up except that they wanted to either offset some of the washing machine costs, or just again take in extra profit. And there's nothing wrong with making a profit, but they squandered an opportunity for short-term gain, and that's a good long-term strategy for a business. So that's just how I feel about it. Go ahead, Robert, and then Islander. Robert, you're on mute though. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was before. Yeah, some of the tough things. It's the consumer, the end consumer at the end of the day, and also the other tricky things they do is they put their prices up no matter what, if it's coming or not. So all it does is hurt the end user. It's like the tariffs when I go across the border and I have to pay double for the same coffee machine as what I do from the same company if I just go 14 miles down the road. And we're suffering that all the time. And the only person that's usually is the consumer. And because also we pay the import tax, which I've already started doing from the other things. We have to pay a 20% tax before all of this business from eBay. So when I was buying stuff from America, I stopped because I got 20% import tax on the stuff already. Plus the VAT, which is the government side. So you got 20% plus the 20% import. Then finally you can buy the products. So we're getting slammed all the way already. We were already getting that. Now they want to put to us. We've got Vivek here. How you doing? He's better. But yeah, so we've had this for a long time. Years. You've got other, you said to talk about manufacturing, but every little part that comes from a little part of the world all has its own import tax. It all goes down onto that, which comes to the user because the company has to pay the tax, but ultimately that tax comes onto you. So that's how it works. At the end of the day, you that pays the tax. The business aren't going to take the loss.
Yeah, they'll front it, but they're there to make money, so they need to get that back, just like they need to get back the time of the person who put
And the
it
other
there.
companies who are selling those, and the other companies all put their thing up just because they can, because they're still making that already there,
Yes.
and they could now charge even more because it's well, there you go, and they'll make more money. That's what they do, but they just care about the bottom line. They could have it price which would make it more desirable for that to be sold. As much money as it possibly can. So there's all stuff that piece of things that come from all around the world to end up in things. So if you look at those shirts that you talk about, they make them in India too, but where there's the cotton from, the elastic, the colour, then you've got the printed side, gets to the side to put that print in. That's another colour dyes. And what does that come from? Where does the source material come from at the end of the day? Material to make stuff in the first place. So where does all that come from? And it's very narrow-minded because I remember when Ford made the first Fiesta and in the UK, the Mark One, and he literally went to the whole of the world to build this car, bits here. They did this, they did that, to put it all together. And he looked at the price that he was making them for, and he looked at the price of the Mini, and he turned and said, "How are they selling this Mini for this price?"
Yeah.
And they were losing money on every car. because but he looked at it, so he wrote it out, didn't he? He
Yeah.
kept the higher price, and he became victorious then. And yeah, but I mean that's something important. I mean, if you can't do that, then businesses can't work. It's an economy, but when you're taxing the end users at another 20% or more, it's against the point. So I have to keep my money in my wallet. I'll cut back strings and I'll just have to do as minimum as I possibly can. That's created instability because then other people won't be able to sell their stuff, so that means they go out of business. That the domino effect, like we're talking about the butterfly effect the other day, wasn't it?
Yes.
It's up over time.
Yeah. I mean, the strategy worked well before we had the train. After we had the train, it just all fell apart, and you could see what it did to our country the last time we tried it. Back in, what was it, 1930, 1929, 1930. We did that, and then, ooh, whoops. And then we took the whole world with us. Hopefully we don't have a repeat of that. Oh, go ahead, Highlander.
Yeah, two quick references. First is sounds like Robert knows Vivek. His numbers look good.
Yeah.
So I want to say howdy and welcome. Thanks for joining the group.
Yeah.
Secondly, I think it's cool that you mentioned dryers.
Yes.
There's two. If you want to study the economy, forget milk and all that, because forget that. Those prices are set by the government. They really are.
Really subsidized. Go ahead.
You look at RV sales.
Yeah.
RV sales have been the number one indicator of how good or bad the economy is.
Yeah.
And almost all of them are in Indiana and Ohio, which is where I live, so it's kind of important to me.
Right.
But that's a good indicator. The second thing is, I love it when you brought up the washer dryer situation, because having went to school in Findlay, Ohio, and Slimy and I talked about this for a minute. You got Whirlpool that makes the dryers. They've been making them there forever. You got generations of people that have worked there now. I buy their brand called Roper. I buy it from Lowe's because I get my 10% military discount. Roper is their low-end budget machine, but it's made in the Findlay plant. I know this. I know people that work there. And I'm very curious to see what they're going to do with the prices, because some of the other models aren't made in America.
Right.
What's going to happen?
Right.
Are they, and to your point, Casey, are they going to keep the prices modest because the Roper is the low-end brand and keep them affordable?
Yeah.
Are they going to ride the wave and go, oh, we're going to get more money out of this product?
Right. The only ones that make sense to me
I'll put my little submarine to the pier on that.
the only ones of those where they do that where it makes sense to me is if you've got let's say it's called the Model 3000, but you've got 3 different plants that make the Model 3000, and you got to explain to people why this third one costs an extra $100. So maybe you raise them all by $100. I can understand that, but like if you make all your stuff in America or wherever you're not getting taxed at, to then raise the prices, I understand more profit. But if you just raise it all the way up, like all your competitors who have to pay the fee do, yeah, you're not going to lose market share, but you have an opportunity to gain it right there without screwing over your customers, without screwing over your workers. Like what speaking of Tesla Semi being closer to finish now, Carson Knight's been telling us that it's almost 50 cents a mile cheaper to run it, right? So we're going to see this happen with the trucking companies. We're going to have ones that just don't drop their price, which is fine, all profit, right? But then we have the smart ones. There are not going to be a lot of them either. That will not drop their price, but they'll raise the driver rate to hey, we've saved this much. Here's a profit share. You can do this, and now we can keep the good drivers. The ones that aren't running stuff over, getting speeding tickets, et cetera, right? And it doesn't cost them anything out of pocket because now money they were spending on oil changes and diesel is they could take a fraction of that money and give it to the drivers and have retention and morale and watch and see. I guarantee you, most of them will not invest in their people, invest in their company with that. They'll just take the extra 50 cents, shove it right in their pockets, and then go out of business, just like we saw with all the other trucking companies. take longer to do it because they have all that profit that their gas and diesel competitors don't have. How many do you think?
Agree 100%.
Yeah.
Go for the market share while you can, and now's the best time to get that extra market share.
And the best way to do that right now is, again, still do that profit share. Like, hey, we've found ourselves 50 cents a mile profit or more profitable. And we're going to drop our prices by 6 cents to the customer. Customer doesn't care why or how. It's like 6 cents, and you can keep this up. All right, here, we'll go with you from now on. And then what's going to happen next is if they do that profit share with the drivers. I don't mean like, hey,
Exactly. It's
literally just from the
it's helpful
savings.
for everybody.
Yeah, it's just literally from their savings. Just mark that off and say, all right, so we were paying the drivers 2 cents a mile, and now we're going to pay them 4 cents a mile. I'm throwing numbers out there because I know that none of those numbers are right, but just doesn't even have to be double. Like, all right, so it was 2 and now it's 3, and that just makes them better than the opportunities for anybody else making a switch from whoever they're with, right? So now you've got these happy drivers taking care of the product, being safe on the road, and then you're making a profit. And then if you cut your price just a little bit from that savings of fuel and maintenance, you now look like you're just that much better of a choice than your competition. So you're gaining market share and you're doing everything that these things are intended to do, versus just shoving it all in some Swiss bank account, whatever we're using these days now.
Casey, did you mention Roanoke?
Roanoke, I did not.
It's in Roanoke, Virginia.
No, I didn't mention them.
Oh, okay.
So,
Never mind.
oh, okay. Stay asleep. Stay asleep. Hey, did Vivek join the speaker? No, he didn't. Did Zach join the speaker? No, he didn't. Okay. So Ford recalls 120,000 vehicles due to brake issues, and this came from Robert, right? I think this covered a lot of their fossils and EVs, but the sheer amount means that even if it were pure gas, I still would have covered it if I saw it. So Robert found it for us. And so Reuters is reporting that the models from 2017 to 2018 F-150, Expedition, and Navigator. According to the agency, the dealer should replace the affected parts, which include the master cylinder or the brake booster, free of charge. Well, as a recall, it better be free. That's the point of the recall. Additionally, the car makers are calling 24,655 2025 Explorers because the powertrain control module can reset while in operation. And people say, oh, I'm afraid of electric cars. They're newfangled. That's a gas car. They've been making them for over 100 years. Yes, sweetie. Yeah. Is that a lightning? That's lightning right there, isn't it? All right. I don't think the video is related to the story, but yeah,
does anybody watch the YouTube channel called The Car Edge? It's Zach and Ray, a father-son deal out of the East Coast. Awesome content to keep up on. Yep, the vehicle market, and then they got a buddy who sells used cars and low priced. He specializes in it's an awesome way to keep well informed with accurate. And I keep pestering them. Please put up the used Model 3 Teslas or used electric vehicles.
Exactly. I'll take a moment to thank Marcus and Stevie Smoke of the High Voltage and Performance EV Racing Team. They gave us a $2 super chat. Thank you very much. And Timothy says, congrats, Papa. Thank you. Thank you very much. And greetings. Absolutely. Yeah. So,
Casey, how do I share the room? I know how to do it on YouTube. I'm not sure how to do it on here.
So on here, there's a little 3 circles in like a triangle shape.
Yeah. Yep.
That should do the trick. So
upper right-hand corner where there's the arrow pointing up and 3 dots, and then the red leave button.
There's probably there too. But down to mine, it's at the bottom of the screen next to the purple pill. For those of you on YouTube, the purple pill is when you're on
the little. No, I'm on X right now.
I'm saying the people on YouTube that are listening, I was explaining what we're talking about. Because when people are fresh to X, they're like, "What the heck is a purple pill?" So there's a little pill-shaped button, and it's got a little chat in it, and so that's the purple pill. Hello, Moto. Hello, Moto. I tell you, you talk rabbit. You told me to talk to rabbit. I haven't even plugged the rabbit in yet. It's still right here. If you take it to mommy and ask her to charge it, she can. I don't know if she will, but she can. Right here. You don't want to ask her? I didn't want to ask her. uh Now that I've got somewhat free two hands, let me take this medication before I end up in a bad spot. Okay.
So in any case, when I went down to the Chattanooga event and they had the Tesla tent,
Mhm.
I got a bag of swag.
Yeah.
And there's one or two things I'd like, but I thought it'd mean a lot more to Slimy if I can send it to you, Casey, and then you can send it to her.
Okay.
Or if my intention was, I'll just give it to her in Muskegon, Michigan.
Yeah.
I'm literally the easiest guy to find, and now that I'm the submarine tour guide, I made up
And the
this.
kilt.
You know them safety vests you
Yeah.
see everybody wear, the bright yellow oranges things.
Right.
So I'm easy to find if her and her dad or mom make it up there. Otherwise, I can just send it to your post office box and you give it to her, because the notebook, and it's got Tesla on it, and it's actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
I'll actually talk to my dad about going now that he's experienced the car for like 2 hours to drive. So maybe we might make it up. He's been really questioning because of supercharging stations and stuff. But I can see. I can see.
Today, I'm going to put up. Sorry to interrupt, Casey, but this is a good one, real quick. Myers gas station, my eye.
Grocery store.
Myers
gas station
grocery
test.
store would. I do this little thing on X where I put out the Highlanders hangout.
Mhm.
Where did all the missing socks in the dryer go? So I'm watching them right where I used to live in Oregon, Ohio.
Yeah.
They put in, you'll be proud of me because I learned it from you. These are version 4s. They're solid. And I took a micrometer. I hope you guys will follow me on the X thing and look at it. I'm measuring it. Of course, I got into it with the foreman because he's like, you have to leave. I said, yeah, no problem. No hassles. I said, dude, you got the orange pylons.
Yeah.
Sure, you got the yellow tape. You're supposed to put them up.
Right.
And I politely left it at that. No big deal. But come on. I mean, really?
Yeah.
But no, they put in these. So my point to Slimy is, and I'm sure you like, I've got a couple of different apps now where the chargers type deal. You can make it from, let's say, for your security and safety sake, let's say Metro Columbus, or I think you mentioned Belleville or wherever. Let's just say Metro Columbus for the rest of the world that watches this later. So you can make it from there to Muskegon, Michigan, no problem. I mean,
My dad said I could go. We could go as long as there's chargers
Those chargers.
on our way.
Oh, and that's the point I was trying to make, and Casey was emphasizing the Teslas. When I went from Chattanooga back home to, say, the Detroit, Toledo area, it wasn't just all the new Tesla chargers popping up. EV Go, everything, Blink. I mean, it must have been an app, but I was using my cell phone, and it's showing me all these little chargers all along the way. That is a non-issue in my opinion, for at least the Great Lakes area. That's a done deal. It's I don't know how much you have to pay. I believe it's regionally charged. Everybody knows, like my sister put in a 220-volt system for a Nissan. If you can charge it at home, it's great. My dilemma is trying to find an apartment under my situation that has an outlet
Yes.
that I can charge on. Otherwise, and Mark just did this series out of Houston, I believe, where the new condo houses, whatever, they got the fully charged. They're all set up.
Yeah, they are.
But apartment owners,
It's hard.
a lot of them could afford a Model 3, a budget-minded Model 3.
Yeah.
Where
You
you
don't
going
wanna spend
to
hours
charge at home where you get your best bang for the buck?
Yeah. Yeah, because you can do supercharging as your only charging source, but I can't recommend doing that. I did it for a couple of years, but I cannot recommend it. Oregon? Where? What state?
It's Oregon, Ohio. It's right next to Toledo. It's where I moved from.
Yeah.
It's fairly affluent, extremely safe. That's why the taxes are so high, because there is a cop in every school. I know my city councilwoman, who I know extremely well. She calls me Scott from Scotland. A very nice community, but they're the ones updated it, and I'll be putting a thing. But no, for Slimy, don't worry about charging, getting from, like I said, let's just say geographically Columbus to Muskegon, Michigan. You will have more than enough chargers. My question to Slimy would be, do you have the adapter? A good, safe adapter that goes from NAX to whatever the old standard was. Casey knows. I can't.
Because the person who owned our car before, they don't have a Tesla charger. They have an off-brand, or like a charger that doesn't run off the Tesla system. So we have the adapter. We got that with the car when we got the car. So we do have the adapter. I've been using it since ownership for over 3 weeks.
Oh, it's tourist season too. You know what? Here's a quick fun fact, if you don't mind my sharing. The area I live in is the largest. This is so funny, and it's so neat and happy. I'm big into happiness. The largest migratory bird path in North America. All the birds come through here.
Nice.
And we call it tourist season because people come from Japan. I know what I'm. I've been here forever now and went to Catholic school down here back in the day. So we get tourists from Japan and all over. And yesterday I'm at the park, which I got to get over there pretty quick. There's birds I never saw before. And I'm like, yep, it's tourist season. The birds are coming. The cherry blossoms have blossomed. And now the leaves are starting to fall off. And it's just a beautiful, mellow spot to be at this time of year.
Yeah. Is it T-Guard? T-Guard Tesla? No. I'm trying to find that site so we can look at the entry for it on screen there.
Hi, Robert.
Hey, Robert.
Nice, good. I just sent you a DM. I've already showed Casey Slime in the past, but here they put in those public charges, and there's other sorts as well. They can put those ones in. There's all these other ones around the places, but you're seeing more of those people in apartments. That was listening to test. She lives in an apartment. What's her name now? Oh, an Asian lady. What was her name? But she was getting her people to put one in where she lived. What's her name now? Joy, isn't it? Joy. Yeah, she does those other test videos.
All three.
Yeah, she got to get one to put in. She got videos.
Like 7 years. Yeah, she did it.
I mean,
Yeah, she did it.
I was thinking, as I say, but if the government here put in those ones in there and all these other stuff, takes a bit of time. But look how many crop up. Just like seems like nothing's happening, then everything's happening. That's me.
That was with the EV part.
I'll say it. The UK. You've heard me before. In any case, England. You guys seem to be getting ahead of us. Maybe it's because we're so big and different. As far as apartments, flats, you got another name for it. It's a British, Scottish, Irish name. In any case, when the houses are scrunched together, we call them row houses. You guys call them something else like semi-attached or some weird name.
Well,
But
it's
the key
semi-detached,
to the-
yeah.
every EV manufacturer, and this is just my opinion, to get to the mass market, okay, well, no, you got to build a cheaper EV. It's like the dilemma I'm in. Where am I going to charge it? A home charging type situation.
100%.
Once they get that solved, yep, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, and we're off to the races.
Yeah, when I was talking to the Octopus Energy Company, obviously they were in England, so they couldn't do anything until they come to Wales. But they were fitting home chargers to other people, but then you would have to have somewhere to park up, and they could get them fitted to your house outside, and that comes to the other people, and obviously you get cheaper insurance, but cheaper electric, but you have to have the car to begin with, so it's a catch-22.
It is. But like we talked about over in California and one other place where they had those, they've done innovations as far as getting mass charging sites put in. We had the one in California where they just put in these low voltage, not really low voltage, but it was 240 connections all over the garage, but they weren't all connected at the same time. The computer would just rotate through who's connected at which time, and they would all get enough hours to get their miles back. Then we looked at another one that was similar, but it was just the outlets. Those are something to consider. Or if the place just makes an investment in themselves, again, investing instead of just snaking out all the profits. If you like when I rent this place out, I leave the Tesla charger there, and now not only does it charge Teslas, it charges everything now. I mean, not that it didn't before with an adapter. They certainly could have put an adapter on it, but now that everybody knows that they can get an adapter, it has that much more appeal to people who are in the market, as well as.
Is that with the power share company that you do that with? The one where they go on the app and they find the place?
It's not public. It's not public. It's on my electric bill, and it's in the garage. But
power share one, you get money from those companies for people coming.
Oh, with the Powerwall,
and
yeah.
charging.
Yeah. Or if you have enough chargers and you list them in the app, Tesla will take the fee and then give it to you. This is not that because it's a private neighborhood. But once somebody with an EV is here, they the term is coming up and they're deciding, do we want to renew or do we want to try to find something else? Well, aside from the hassle of moving, now you have to find a place that's got a place to charge your car. Where you don't have to go out somewhere to charge every week or every month for hours on end, because it's right there at home. It's very convenient, and so that'll add a little retention in on a desirable tenant. But now that everybody knows that if they see a Tesla charger, they'll just work on their EV. I think that will add more appeal than it had in the past. Since I've had tenants here that none of them had electric cars, but they did like that it was available should they choose to use it. It also helped that I never turn the electricity off when I'm not here. I switch it over. I don't switch it over. I leave it in my name. So what happens is, as long as they stay below what's free from the solar, then they don't have an electric bill, not taxes, not fees, nothing. But if they go over it, then they got to pay the difference between what the solar's giving them and what they use. So most of them have, like, in a year, they'd have like $3 $40 electric bills, which is quite fun.
Kacey, I believe, was it you that mentioned trying to install the heat pump situation in your house? I remember it was your show. I think when I say your show, I mean you, Mark.
Talking, yeah.
Patrick.
Yeah.
And did you have the solar panels? Can you expand just a little bit more? I don't want to get personal about, I got safety considerations, but tell us a little bit more about your setup at home.
It's just a way that the way that HVAC is set up in this country, where you kind of basically have to have a middleman, and if you do a bring your own equipment, people freak out. And so I got a quote for this little starter house for switching from gas to heat pump to it was like almost 40 grand, and I was like, that's not going to happen. The house barely cost that much when it was new, And I've been looking into it a little bit, and I think I've got some ways to make it happen when the air conditioner finally is no longer wanting to participate. We'll see how that goes down. Just got to basically find somebody who doesn't freak out that you brought your own equipment, whether you grumble about it or not, and then doesn't mess with your service warranty. Like, I can't warranty that. I didn't buy it. Well, I was asking to warranty the equipment. It comes with its own. If you sign here that you put it in, and it's just
I did see something about the heat pumps over here. They were giving free heat pumps to people that don't have gas on their systems. All the people who still got gas, you'd have to pay, but the government are giving it to those people.
Yeah.
And as I say, I'm in government housing, but I don't get that. So yeah, so it'll be a long time before we get it. But those people off on the electric only, they've been offered them free of charge.
Yeah. So with this, you would then I lost my spot there. Yeah, so you find somebody who's not going to freak out about the warranty and everything, and then you basically get it shipped to your garage, basically, and then they can put it in for you, rip out the gas, and it should be all right. But we'll see what actually becomes of it. It's very similar to how the dealership model wants to stay entrenched here, where you can't get a car without a dealer. They don't care if it's them or not, just a dealer. And then once they manage to kick out the independents, then they'll fight amongst each other over who gets the territory or whatever. But right now, they've got a united front on no independent sales. And except that.
So
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So I posted on the Purple Pill 3 pictures / one video clip. One's with me with the micrometer. This is a much bigger, heavier cable, but that thing just throws the amps out like it's nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, at least that's what you tell me. I mean, it just literally just and by the size of that cable, and I'm sure it's liquid cooled and all kinds of fancy stuff, but it's bigger. There's a picture of the micrometer.
That's the B4 dispenser for sure.
Yeah, and if anybody watches Autoline, sorry if I'm mentioning other shows, but I do. It's a great Detroit reference, and only through YouTube, but I know the producer and moderator. It's John McElroy. It's a show. Yeah, it's his kid, and
Sean McElroy, right?
so I addressed everything, and and I hope to meet them because it's 40 minutes away, no big deal. I'd go have lunch with one of my. Yeah. So I make a comment addressed to his kid, and John responded back. I thought that was kind of neat. So that's in the screenshot by accident, actually.
Oh.
But it shows the brand new V4s, and if we remember when I was in Brighton, Michigan, I think it was what you told me are V3s because they're hollow.
Mm-hmm.
They're black and white, but they're hollow.
Right.
This thing is solid.
There you go.
And these cables, power cables, are huge. And I'm an electrician. I know this stuff, believe it or not.
Yeah, because they can do.
So I'm very enthusiastic about that.
Well, your sister, you have to pull your share up. Can't carry her. 1,000 volts at 1,000 amps is what that cable is capable of. That the one that you have in the picture. That is substantial. We talked about how much 240 will throw you back.
I don't want to get zapped by it.
No,
I've
you
been
don't.
zapped enough in my lifetime.
The good thing is they've got all.
But I thought, you guys might appreciate it, and somebody down the road.
What? Door. So you need some pants for that. Run around like Winnie the Pooh. Is that better, baby? That a burp? She took like half that bottle.
Hey, Kacey, on a family-friendly note.
Go ahead.
The last time I was with y'all, of course, Easter break and all, but in any case, I said, don't forget to mention the moderators and producers. Yeah. And you gave a shout out to me, Slimy, and Robert.
That's right.
I meant Moto.
Oh,
If I ever mention moderator or producer, I'm talking about your young daughter. She's a fan favorite. She really is, because other people, we DM each other. Some people, like Pete Gruber, didn't know it. Some of us, I'm the only one that's not a moderator. The rest of them, I all know. They know me. You know, we just kind of bounce around. Oh, which one you doing this year? You know, where are you at? Oh, I'm over here. I'm over that one. I'm with this group. Roger Starkey, the last I knew, he's damn near professional moderator now. He does a group out of Canada that I follow. I know the damn dog's name. You know, you got too much YouTube time when you're starting to know the owner's pets' names.
yeah, it happens sometimes. Some of our main characters. There you go. That's a good burp. Oh, you drink with it. I got something for that.
So they have to shout out to Moto, our executive producer and moderator, and her new young apprentice. Congratulations to mom and dad.
Thank you. Yeah, Moto and Mako. Well, if you wanted it to stay in, you should have put it in your mouth. She was like pushing out the little bit of the spitto, and I took it with the blanket, and she's like, "No, I wanted that." I'm like, "No, shouldn't have pushed it out because I was cleaning." You ready to lay down again? Or do you want to say hi to TV? Okay. Oh, we get a little more. Yeah, how's that? There you see that? That's you. That's you. She looked at us. I didn't do my hair yet. Pacifier or milk? Yeah, they both go in your mouth. Which one do you want? Do you want a milk? Or do you want this one? This one? She's like, put it in my mouth. Like the milk or the pacifier, they both go in there. Contented life. She's trying to sleep, but her sister keeps making noise in the background. You good? Okay, let's continue. So another thing to look at with, like, we could talk about investments today, investments in your infrastructure, investments in your business. This agrivoltaics. I'm not sure what they're hitting on in the story, but agrivoltaics is an example of that, where you've got your crops, and but you've got your solar in the same field. You can co-locate, and some crops don't like direct sunlight. So now you've got space that would be direct sunlight. It's got shade, so you can do like strawberries or anything else that just wants that partial shading.
I'm encouraged by the ones that the plants are floating in the water,
Yes.
and then they got the fish in there, and the fish poop feeds the plants.
Yeah.
I love that concept, and it works really well. It's just expensive to install.
It is. It is. But once you've got it, you get the nitrogen from the fish, feeds the plants. The
But
plants feed the nitrogen to the fish. It's a cycle.
It's so funny you mentioned strawberries, because I'm obsessive compulsive, and I got on the vegetarian, not vegetarian, but home gardening kick. It's square foot gardening by, man, I forgot it last time. 2 other people asked me.
Yeah.
In any case, so you can do great home gardening if you read 1 or 2 of the good books.
Right.
And so I got so good at it, I'm selling them and blah, blah, blah. And I had a little 4x4 strawberries. Well, this is when I lived in a trailer park out in the country, right? So that makes it nice. I mean, there's a huge cornfield behind us, and it's a lot better than when people picture trailer parks. This was nothing like that experience. It's out in the country.
It's another one where if you do your investments, it can be a nice experience, or you can extract all the money till it runs into the ground. Literally.
Well, yeah. Believe me, I know. But so the point being, and sadly, the neighbor right across the street, they had a mulberry tree. I think that's what they're called. But they're these little red and dark blue, purplish berries, and they're really good to eat. I didn't know it. They had them. In any case, so I planted strawberries along with everything else, and it super grows if you use a square foot gardening method. I mean, it's just crazy how much you do. So, to your strawberry point, so not that the next year, second next year, whenever.
Yeah.
So the birds come down when you're not looking.
Of course.
I did have a BB gun, air rifle, whatever. I refuse to carry anything more powerful than that. If I get in a bad mood, I don't want to get in trouble.
Right.
So, got my air rifle. I don't need it. That's what I'm paying the police for. You know, that's my philosophy. I'm sticking to it. It's worked so far. In any case, so the birds come down, they eat the strawberries, they poop out the seeds. I had so many, and they were tiny little strawberries. I mean,
Everywhere.
we're all grown men here, except for the lady. Take your fingernail, let it, not your thumb, your fingernail, and that's the size that they were so sweet and juicy. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
You know why? Strawberries are basically weeds.
Yeah. Basically.
I think it's the carrot family. There's nightshade,
Yeah, they probably not choose something like that. We just cultivated them because like you
something like that. But
you look at the original strawberries, they were like they would fit inside easily the poof ball on the dandelion.
yeah, exactly. I think that's part of how they proliferated.
And then
But
we just selectively grabbed the biggest, juiciest ones until they became. I saw some strawberries the other day that
oh,
were
this is
almost
nice.
like half the size of my fist. I was like, that's a gigantic strawberry.
But yeah, I'd highly recommend. And cucumbers. My daughter, God bless her soul, she lives down in Sydney, Ohio. That's no secret. Slightly mentally, she's slow.
Mhm.
And so we go out. The cucumbers were so good
Yeah.
and so big. Problem is, you got to pick them fast.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go out 2 days later and it's like they'll double in size if you use this method, right?
Yeah.
And we wouldn't even. They didn't make them into the house. We just sit out there. To her, that's a snack. And
Yes.
I'm so pro health food, even though I smoke and drink. So I'm a bit of a hypocrite on that point. But I'm very pro grow your own food.
Yeah.
You can do it.
I mean, that's what we're all about here. You grow your own food, make your own power, and then what have you done with all that power that you paid? Well, you can use it all around the house, and you can use it to get from place to place. So, I mean,
Yeah, it's better for your health. You're teaching your kids good values, and it definitely saves on the pocket. After 2 years, it's game over, brother. It really is. Can I give out the recipe, Casey? It's 1/3 vermiculite or percolite. That's the little tiny white puffy stones when you buy some, you go to a florist or whatever, and the dirt's got this little white puffy stones.
oh yeah, those.
1/3 vermiculite or percolite. 1/3 peat moss. Oh my God. All the peat moss comes from Canada.
Yeah. You think something?
1/3 peat moss. Oh, well, that business is about to boom.
Yeah. Well,
1/3 the little puffy rocks, percolites. 1/3 peat moss, and 1/3 organic compost. And you're supposed to use 3 different blends.
Oh.
I've never met anybody who did not follow that. You can't eat all the vegetables. Fortunately, I lived in a trailer park, and not everybody was a factory electrician. So
nice.
I just put them in on the paper bag that my newspaper would come in.
Yeah.
I'd pile it full of food and leave it at the neighbors' houses, the ones I knew that,
Appreciate it. Yeah.
they could use a little help. So, yep.
Yeah, we did a couple years here. We did hydroponic gardening. That's always fun too, because you sit in the middle of winter on a plant that should be dead. It's 3 years old and it's still fruiting, which is nice. The lettuce goes rigid pretty quick though, and bolting when it puts the flowers out, and it just becomes gross. But yeah, that's what this is all about right here. Just a little bit of self-sufficiency added to the turmoil that's out there. Speaking of solar power has surged around the world, according to Steve Henley, who's reporting on the numbers. We see they have here. He's got numbers, but he's more of an article here, which is fine. It's the same
Well,
thing.
Casey, do you have any more information on either the Roadster or this quote affordable vehicle? People are getting mad at me because I post.
The affordable vehicle, I've got some ideas on. The Roadster, I think it's late. As far as the affordable vehicle, my theory is that everybody's like, oh, it's just a cheap Model 3 and Model Y. I don't think that's that exactly. I suspect what we're going to see, speaking of the Cadillac on the screen, the Cadillac Cimarron, which was really just a Chevy Cavalier with Cadillac skin on it.
Oh my God!
Yes.
I just posted something about that. I think that might have been the one John Rack and McElroy. Somebody responded it to me. Oh my God!
Yeah. So if you guys remember that one, it was just as old Chevy Cavalier with Cadillac skin on it, and so I suspect that's what we're going to see with the.
No, I'm thinking of the even cheaper one.
Even cheaper.
Sorry, but
which one was that?
The much cheaper one.
They did it twice, at least. So not the Cimarron. What was the other one? There's an older one. Also started with a C.
It's not a Cavalier. It was something else. I mean, this thing was dirt cheap. It fell apart, and it was made in the United States.
Right, and then they put the little
that thing was cheap.
Or Buick logo on it. I don't remember which. And
then they put the Cadillac logo. They put a couple of plastic knobs and trim, and I'm like, man, you just killed the brand. And
they did.
Finally, as far as Cadillac goes, they're back to being what they should be, in a very expensive, high-end car. That's what a Cadillac's supposed to be. Just be that and be happy.
And high tech and comfortable. Yeah. And they were just chasing too much numbers rather than, steady. There's nothing wrong with being steady. What you don't want to do is dip.
Yeah, that's why I like Slate. I'm sorry, I know this is a Tesla show,
but it's a Tesla show. And Slimy's got Slate in the topic at the top, so we're gonna get to them as well. But yeah. So the what I suspect we're gonna see is something that's got a Model 3 frame and a Model Y frame underneath whatever skin they put on it. But I don't think it's gonna be a Model 3 or a Model Y. It might even look like one. I
don't know what they're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And if Elon hadn't mentioned it, I know what I would do. I'd take that robo-taxi and I would find a way to put in the steering wheel and brake pedals and same damn car.
Brian was telling us
I would.
Yeah, I think that would make sense as well. But Brian was telling us that the way that they did that, there's just no way it could work because it would be even for a punishment mobile, it wouldn't be something that somebody would want to drive. But I think if there's enough will as a way, they're gonna probably have to stretch it or change something about it. But they can make a little two-seater that's actually fun to drive, and it doesn't have a lot of power, or any of that stuff that we're used to. But look at the Miata. That thing is not a power monster. It's very nimble. People love it to death. You could do the Tesla Miata out of the robotaxi frame. It's just a matter of fact. I mean, you'll have to put a real firewall.
Exactly.
And wire steering. Yeah.
What bothers me in my whole entire 2 shares of Tesla stock, I'm a millionaire, is somebody else is going to come eat our lunch on the low price vehicle. It's no secret. Nobody can dance around it. I live amongst the poorest of the poor, and they would like to have a vehicle to get to work. Some of these people live off of free bus passes to get to work. You think they don't want a cheap car?
Right. Exactly. So what I think we're going to see is a lot of people are saying, oh, it's just going to be like a Model Y base or something like that. No, you can only take out so much before it's not the promise. And putting in crank windows and half a battery and thin windows, that can get you some savings, but not enough to justify calling it what he's been saying, new model. I don't think that he misspoke at all when he said new model, because of the General Motors and Ford situation where you have other models, but they are the same frame. Look at the Crown Vic. The Crown Vic from 1970 to 2010 or something like that. Some ridiculously long. It barely changed from 1973 to the end, and um, it was a Mercury, it was a Ford, it was a Lincoln, and I'm sure they did some pet projects for other people where it was just that in another country, like a taxi or something, and it was our taxi here forever in a police car, and the needs of the taxi and police car are slightly different, and then even more so for a personal car and a luxury car. I think that you can pull that off at their scale with their technology because everything's in the screen.
Are we going to talk about the Chinese auto show, or are we going to just keep it to North America? Oh my
I'm
goodness.
Look into any of the content coming out of that. The one I did see looked nice, but I, I didn't watch enough or read enough to speak informed on it. So I don't want to just be. It's not my style. So I don't have enough to speak the way I like about it.
No, I get that, and that's what I like about Brian White. He's like, I won't speak on it unless I have two sources. I mean, there's more than one comment. He'll put up a lot of my comments.
Yeah.
But when I make certain comments, he won't put it up because it's not verified, and I totally get that and respect it. Let's say I do deep dive into portable nuclear reactors. Nobody's interested. You, I got to come back to it. I'm sorry. I got to give you props. You knew about it.
Yeah.
Other people, it means nothing to them, folks. It's going to mean a lot.
It will. It will. Because
especially Texas, India is so wanting them. They do not have the power lines in their places with their monsoon season and all that.
exactly.
You can't. It's not Scotland. Scotland's rainy and breezy, but we got all the wind and solar in the world. What did you? Great Britain, you know, all that. We're all set. It's just a matter of the government getting their act together.
Yeah.
India doesn't have that luxury. They don't have the electrical lines, and they got some of the best and nastiest weather in the world. They still, to this day, use elephants to move product.
Yeah.
They want these little portable nuclear reactors.
Yeah. They're a lot easier to drop in than South Carolina. 8 years ago, they wasted $9 billion trying to put in a traditional nuclear plant. And what do they get? They got a hole in the ground that they filled back in. So they got literally net nothing.
Yeah.
For their $9 billion investment. And so then
I can't remember the guy, but he's actually on my email list. Some of these people actually respond back to me. It's amazing, you know, because it's like Idaho National Labs and, you know, what's the in any case, different places, and I'm like amazed when they respond back. But so the one guy, his whole thing, my name will come back 2 hours after the show's over. His was, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, and he's been on a couple shows. I'm taking what we have by way of technology, we're going to mass produce it, and he's doing it.
exactly.
And then if you need more, and it bypasses so many regulations. It bypasses the whole, we call them cloud factories. They're so big and there's all the white steam comes out.
Right.
It bypasses so much more. This guy's going to make bank. He really is.
Yeah. I mean, if you can bring them in on a pallet, and obviously it's going to be guarded and secured and all that, versus having to spend $9 billion and hope you actually get a plant. It's a lot easier to say, hey, here's 800 million. We've got the site prepared, it's secure, we got the lines ready, we got the water. In fact, it's self-contained, so you don't really need the water and stuff. Here's the pad, put it in. We've got our security guards and our security plan, and the police know about it, this, that, and the other. Boom, put it in. And
no water required.
Exactly.
A little bit.
And then, well, yeah, but not any more than
it's self-sustaining.
Yeah, self-sustained.
I think it was on one of these shows, because now I'm getting really selective on my YouTube time.
Yeah.
But they mentioned the power outages. And I'm like, I live between two of the oldest and most productive nuclear power plants. One's in basically Sandusky, Ohio, and it's the old, they renamed it. And the other one is in southern Metro Detroit. I don't have power outages.
Right.
That nuclear power just keeps going.
Yeah. And so what they can do with that is they can combine these small dudes with you got solar, you've got wind, you've got hydro. What you need is the grid storage, because those sources are intermittent, and you can't be ramping your nukes up and down like you can with the fossils. You don't want to do that to a gas plant. You can, but you don't want to be making the gas plant change revs. And well, you want to be closing your coal plants because they're just not profitable to operate. In addition to uh, the nastiness they do to your community, as far as like raising asthma and mercury and all this other stuff that you just don't want in your community. Uh, the coal needs to go.
Yeah, I mean,
But the coal even
yeah,
doesn't
I'm very
open up.
positive about it. Obviously,
Yeah.
very positive.
Yeah. And so you combine
That's
these.
something. Okay, you're a professional YouTuber.
Yeah.
I think I've been on too much because I'm starting to from. I'll call them the big boys. I don't just get the thumbs up and hearts anymore. Once in a while, they actually say something, and that's fine. I don't care either way.
Yeah.
I'm getting little like yellow golden stars, and I'm getting all these little weird things that look like they're important.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's good. That means there's recognition there. And so you combine these small plants, and they can't rev as much as the big ones. And like I said, you don't want to really be revving the big ones. That's part of what kicked Chernobyl off into their their virtuous cycle that they couldn't get out of. In addition to poor workmanship and safety protocols and all that. So I'm not saying that these little guys can do that, and like the current ones can do that, but
Right.
it's just one reason why you don't
to
want
I
to
think
change
both
the
our
rev.
points.
Yeah.
You can put a bunch of them together,
Yeah, you put them
like
together.
you would the way you would series an electrical stream.
Yeah, you can do that, and then what else?
You can
Like,
put them in series. You can put them in parallel.
right,
You just put a bunch of them in there.
exactly. And if you've got them in a decent area where
Permitting process is almost the same. I mean,
right. And if you've got a bunch of them in a nice area where you can do your supplement them with solar, supplement them with wind, hydro, batteries, all of that. That what that does is it lowers your cost. And what that means is
right.
you're
A good holistic approach to the whole thing.
right. So uh, in the hot season, you've got folks turning on air conditioners, right? Well, what happens that has caused it to get hot? The sun is out, so your solar is there supplementing for you, and so you don't have to rev the plant, so you don't need to buy a new plant, you don't have to permit and the materials. Uh, One thing we're not allowed to do in this country is reprocess the waste, so it just sits there forever. So we can do like France and reprocess the waste.
Yeah.
You have to have a plant that's
Yeah.
set up to handle that. uh, or you can.
I got a little background in that, and I won't talk about it.
You talking about the weapons, or just that it doesn't work that well?
Oh, yeah, we're not getting into any of it. I will say I went to Oak Ridge
Mhm.
on my famous to me, going from basically Michigan, Northern Ohio down to Chattanooga.
Yeah.
And I had to stop and put money into my credit union. That took over an hour and a half.
Oh wow.
To pay for the ticket
Yeah.
that nobody ever bothered to look at. It was $12 if you bought it on time or less. I paid 40 for it. No one even asked it for me once I put on my kilt.
Ah.
But I stopped at Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and I said to her, "This is at the credit union." I said, "Wait a minute," and I posted it with the building, and it's got a lot of antennas. It's a big building. I said, "Oak Ridge, Tennessee, is this like where I need to bring yeah?" I'm like, "Is this the?" She goes, "Oh yeah." I said, "Like, I want to check my water and air." She said, "Yep, that's us."
Nice.
And it was a federal credit union. That's why I got in, because I'm Wright Pat, which is a federal credit union.
Yeah.
Because of the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton.
Yeah.
They also got a lot of neat stuff nobody knows going on.
Definitely.
I mean, a lot of really stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
And right across the street, I'm glad I took pictures. There's a big building with so many antennas that look like a bug.
Nice. And so that's
But
something you can look
yeah,
at as well,
no,
right?
they have problems reprocessing it.
Yeah. So there's the two levels of what you get out of the reprocessing. You can get the same fuel, just whatever's left over. You get the same fuel. There's less of that, and you can put it back into the first tier plants. Then you've got another tier, ones that can just take
Enriched.
the enriched, and then you've got the third level of what comes out of those is just a whole nother element. These first two plants are not set up to use as fuel. So you can make, if there's enough of this coming in, we're not doing it. So chicken and egg problem. But if we do start doing like France and doing some reprocessing, then you can have that third tier set up to take just that new fuel that's got the different elements coming out of it and optimize for that.
For anybody coming down the road, France is a #1 leader maybe other than China, but it's been for Europeans #1 leader in nuclear technology for decades now.
Germany went the other way and just closed.
They didn't have to worry about the oil and gas getting shut off from, well, the other side.
On the other
We
side
will
of
mention
the
the other side.
politics going on right now. Whereas Germany was hurt really bad because they closed all their nuclear plants, and so they were just on various forms of fossils.
Yeah,
and
on
whatever
the
they
other
could get from
guy's oil line.
the other guy's oil line, and just and that and whatever they could get from the sun. I don't even think they have that much wind input there. I'd have to verify how much their wind input is.
Yeah, but they're
compared to their
so pro solar.
There's nothing wrong with
It's
solar.
amazing. They got 400-year-old houses, you know, in the United States, whether it's Detroit or Houston, Texas, or South Carolina.
Yeah.
If it's over 6 years old, it's be strong, tear it down and put up something new. They're living in their 400-year-old houses, and then we need a solar panels, and they plop them on there, and no worries.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with solar, but if you don't have enough of it, you gotta these folks with these missions is you can't be a purist. You need to be practical, and on an individual level, you can be a purist like me. No meat, and I don't want any combustion. But even there, I've still got a little level of practicality. This is a natural gas neighborhood, as they used to call it. I noticed that sign is gone. So
Even the Amish had to update, Casey.
yes,
It's
exactly.
okay.
Even they
Don't
did.
need to
Yeah.
apologize.
So I've got the gas I have remaining here is I've got for water heater is on demand, so I'm only burning methane when um, when we're running the hot water, and the furnace, which I make so much heat in electronics here that we don't actually have to run the heat that much. I just pump it from one room to the other, and eventually, like we said, we'll switch it to heat pumps. But it was just a matter of practicality that I didn't just say, oh, well, it's not perfect, so we're going to freeze for the winter. No, we're going to turn that on like 68 or 67 or whatever's comfortable enough. We'll put on some sweaters and we'll sleep under the blankets, and it's fine. Um, versus they're saying, oh, well, you drive a Tesla, so you're evil, this, that, and the other thing, because he's not perfect and this and that. Well, I bought this car 8 years ago, so I'm not. It's paid off. I'm not doing anything now, regardless of whether your mission is good or misguided or whatever. But it's the same thing with the nuclear stuff. It's like, hey, you've got the plants; they're in good shape. They're not of a design that's doing the meltdowns. It's not a Chernobyl style. It's not a 3 Mile Island situation. 3 Mile Island, I think we've talked about it before, is coming back. Microsoft
Yeah,
has
Google
paid for
bought
it.
it. So
Microsoft,
Microsoft,
yeah,
whoever.
yeah. They didn't buy it outright.
That's how much power these data centers need, folks.
Exactly. So their mission is to be carbon negative. So they want to scrub out every bit of carbon that their products have put out since the Altair, and and so to do that, they need to have less carbon than the year before, through and through and through. So one way for them to do that is, they've got all these investments in solar, but if they have a nuclear plant, that's zero carbon as well. So although it's not zero carbon the way they've done it, because they're looking at the life cycles, they got to look at the ore processing and the transport and all that, but it's still pretty darn good if they don't have to build a new plant. So they can refurbish the one that's there, get it fueled up, and it'll provide them all the power they need. But back to
They're a lot safer than most people even realize.
exactly. So you have these people just reacting out of fear to those two events, and
They'll get over it.
they won't.
But I've hit, yeah, some won't. Well,
Yeah.
whatever. My sister and I just had a huge argument because I mentioned, and I didn't vote for him, but I mentioned Trump, and she goes, no politics allowed between us. And I mentioned Elon. No politics. I said,
Oh, he lost politics now. Yeah, see, he did that to
politics. I'm trying to talk about the EVs.
right? He did that to
Drive
himself.
one. You bought one because of me.
He did that to himself. But
Some people will just, they're like a dog with a bone. You can't take it away. That's their thing.
speaking of bone, we did the grocery pickup the other day, and they gave us 2 dog bones. Like, what the heck, we got a dog? And so we got to find somebody who we like that their dog's allowed to eat the like the cow parts, and we'll give them to them. But the purity contest, the purity gatekeeping measurements that they do, led to Germany closing all of their nuclear plants. And right when dude decides to make world events happen, and they're the center of Europe financially, so they do the right thing. But now they're scrambling for how do we keep the lights on and keep ourselves centered. And they couldn't. They had to make exceptions for allowing some of their resources to get into that gas, and they did keep the lights on, but they didn't have enough solar before they cut the nuke. So what they should have done was keep the nukes running until they had something to replace them, something acceptable to replace them.
Exactly. Not coal, but something else.
Exactly. And then you see the same thing.
My theory is if Scotland can do it, anybody can do it. But
Right.
hey,
Right. And so
Scotland has always produced some of the best engineers. It's a historical fact.
right, as far as developed world, obviously in developing world, the calculus changes, but you have the situation where um, it's still Germany. It's still the same mindset. You've got these folks that are like, this is before Elon did his thing. They are in there protesting the cutting of the trees at this plant outside Berlin. But what people don't realize,
Oh, that was the dumbest thing in the
oh,
world.
it's terrible. It's several levels of
That was so stupid.
so the trees these people are protesting.
You think Volkswagen doesn't want to sell on Teslas?
Right.
Oh, I can turn pro Tesla in a heartbeat, brother, and this is one of them.
So
Oh my God.
so some of them were super misguided. Some of them are just like super purists or whatever. Those ones glued themselves to the Volkswagen floor. Uh, but the others, you had them protesting the cutting of these trees. But what they don't tell you is that the trees are a cardboard forest, and what I mean by that is they are a pulp farm. Is just the trashiest trees just to fill in to make sure that the soil doesn't just wash away after World War II. Uh, they were put there to cut down 30 years later. So it's like they started in World War II, but obviously 30 years, these trees aren't back to World War II since we're talking 80 years now. But the this last crop after they whoever was running the farm, they got out because they were tired, they died, whatever, right? And so now it's just open on the market. And BMW actually did everything they needed to do to come here, and then they realized that these people are crazy and we don't want to fight them. So we're going to put our plant somewhere else. And they did.
Well, Casey, didn't BMW and a lot of them go down to North and South Carolina?
They did. But that left the land so cheap because now whoever was holding it didn't want to hold it, and BMW dropped out. So, like, well, how do we make our money and get out of this mess, right? So they Tesla says, "Hey, we want it. It's cheap enough if it's our budget," and they bought it. So you've got these people uh, now just hanging out in the trees.
You're not talking about the Tennessee plant. What plant are you talking about?
The current Berlin plant, and so you've got people in
What state's that in?
Berlin. Uh,
Oh, okay. I thought we were back to South Carolina.
oh no. And so they're clearing out old munitions because World War II we carpet bombed everything and landmines and stuff. They're taking care of that. They've got the environmentalists to worry about contend with. You've got the reptile mating season. You've got these special ants and stuff. That's fine. Deal with them and move on. So they've met all the requirements, and now they've got these people camped out in the trees. Actually, this is before they started the tree houses, but they're just making a mess, firebombing places, and meanwhile, their whole thing is they're trying to protect the environment, right? Well, these are not. I mean, they're real trees, but they're not doing anything. They're a farm. They were meant to be harvested. So what the company has decided they're going to do
Exactly.
and commit
Just
to-
like my cousin's place in Scotland. He has a legal responsibility to harvest part of the national forest that my family used to own. A legal responsibility and make a profit at it. Because they're trees just like the same if they were tomatoes or cucumbers.
Yeah, and these are a monoculture. If they get sick, the whole forest is dead because they're a crop. They're not a forest. They just look like one. And so what the company has done is they're not into the tree farming business. So they said, all right, we're going to harvest these trees, get the ones in the way of the building out, and then we're going to restore the forest. We're going to put in native trees for every crop tree we take out. We're going to put in 3 or 4 native trees that belong here, hardwoods, good, hardy, long-lasting, suited for the climate. But obviously, one thing we learned is you got to pick a different tree than that would have been there before World War II, because the climate has already changed enough that the trees that actually belong there, like 100%, oh, people were never here. Those trees can't live there anymore. They will die within 10 years. So they had to pick the ones that are like the next level up in altitude from the ones that were there before we got to the place. But they're still, the ones that belong from Germany, from that region. They're just the next level up on the mountains or the hills or whatever. So they'll survive.
That is one of the beauties of living in the inner city is nobody protests when you're knocking down a 100-year-old factory, and we have them in Toledo and Detroit. Even in Met,
Dilapidated, they don't
nobody
care.
cares. Put another one.
Yeah, if it's dilapidated, they don't care. If it was like beautiful, then you got a problem.
Yeah, hey, something's moving. There's a tractor out there. That's a beautiful thing. I mean,
Yes. Better than the blight. Yeah.
oh, so to follow up, because I'm sure somebody commented saying, Highlander, you're so nuts. You don't know anything electrical and you don't know what you're talking about with auto. So I talked about auto repair people were desperate. Auto repair people. I wasn't talking about Bell Tire or any of them. I was talking about the bare bones, and I was going to take a picture. It's in East Toledo, where they deal with the poorest of the poor. And now the poorest of the poor don't have money. That's why they did my brake job for free. That's how I made it down to Chattanooga. I still have the piece. There was no brake pad left. Is the metal sheet behind the backing of the brake pad.
Yeah,
It's that bad.
You were telling us before you had it done that it was not safe to drive anymore. You used it all up.
Yeah, I mean, but so before everybody says I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking the poor. They're one step above a shade tree mechanic type place.
Yeah.
Where the poorest people go. They do their best to give the service. Every once in a while, one of them is actually ASC certified or something.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the ones struggling because they're serving the poorest of the community, and now they got no money. So,
yeah.
Bell Tire, all the rest of them, they're thriving through the roof because, watch Car Edge. Don't listen to the Highlander. Watch Car Edge or one of these reputable YouTube car channels. They'll tell you used cars are going through the roof.
They are.
And like their used car dealer says, I got a real problem.
You don't know.
He says they're making less new cars.
Yes.
They're making less new cars. That means less used cars for me to buy.
Right. Yeah. I was there for I was selling cars during Cash for Clunkers, and we created a similar situation here. It was a good thing we were going for, but it had knock-on effects. So we were buying these 20-year-old cars that couldn't meet emissions, and then we were destroying them. And
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And it was good.
That's back in the day, man.
Yeah. It was good. It was cleaner cars coming out. People were buying hybrids, or worst cases, they were buying at least cleaner guzzlers. And there weren't really any EVs to buy during that. You had the Roadster, and that was it. They didn't qualify for Cash for Clunkers, but then what we found was that in the next 2 years, there were no more 10 to 20-year-old cars in the used market. So what was left of the used cars, they were going up in price because there were less of them, and people still needed to get cars to go where they were going. And so it's a matter.
And then what I call the depression of the 2008.
Yeah, that's what it was.
The depression of about 2-3 years. China was going through the roof. They bought all our used cars for the scrap metal, because to make metal under the most situations, make the sheet metal to make cars and washers and dryers, you need some old scrap iron to go in there.
Exactly. And
that's part of the manufacturing process.
Millions
They bought up all the junkyard scrap too.
Exactly. You had millions of cars that couldn't go anywhere, and so the junkyard's like, oh, we don't need this, so we're gonna get rid of it. Oh, you'll buy it by the pound. Here you go. Put it on a ship.
I know this for a fact because I remember when I moved down to Miamisburg, Ohio, Miami Township, they were advertising any vehicle $700. So that was around 2008-ish, 9-ish. Then in 2015 to 2016, whatever, when I had to let my last minivan go, I had to beg and plead to get $100. and it had brand new laser aligned tires. I said the transmission's flawless. He took me out to a huge pole barn.
All these good transmissions.
He said, I won't give you $5 for it. He said, look, see all those transmissions? He said, Chrysler transmissions, you can't hurt them. That's why I got so many of them in here.
So yeah, they're knock-on effects. But that one is the case where we weren't worried about perfect. We knew that there would be an effect. We didn't know it would be as strong as an effect as we had, but we knew there'd be an effect on both the new and used markets by doing that. But at the same time, it was good for inner city asthma, pollution in California, clean water in Michigan. And so we did it. We did it. It was the right thing to do. Could we have done it differently? Yeah. Should we do it again? Probably, but differently. We should take our lessons learned. But no, the people who learned the lessons are gone. So I don't know if it'd be safe to try it again, unless they wrote the notes down somewhere, because we're going to make all the same mistakes and more if we do this now. Not just from the people retiring naturally, but we just had a massive shakeup, and institutional knowledge is not what it used to be. So again, back with the perfect being the enemy of the good. You've got folks at that same plant now that they've finally agreed. All right, so yeah, you are not agreed, but like the cops have like kept them back, and they've realized, okay, so this is happening. The trees are getting cut down, the factory's getting built, and they're meeting their promise of replacing them elsewhere on the grounds and elsewhere in the country. Of what was it, 3-to-1, 4-to-1, however, whatever they promised is being met. Okay, great. Now we see there's an elevated level of nitrates in the river output of the sewer. So what do they say? They say, "Oh, Tesla is dumping. Tesla's dumping into the river." They are not at all. They are dumping into the sewer pipe, that which they have agreed, because they have an agreement that okay, anything that is made from the factory is going to go through this level of reprocessing and recycle and reuse. And so what ends up happening is some of the water that they reuse goes through their server systems. Okay, keeps the supercomputers cool, or at least the server farm cool. Some of it goes through a certain level of filtration that they can actually use it again in the factory, and they use it one more time. And then it gets to a level where it's safe enough to output, but not good enough to use anywhere else in the facility. So what they do, they put it and they water their grass and their shrubs, and their landscaping. All right. So now it's gone. So then how is the level of nitrates going up in the river, right? Well, what's happening is this factory employs let's call it 3,000 people, and people have to do biological processes throughout the day so they can continue to turn out work, either paperwork or manual labor, making the cars, right? As well as they have to have inputs. So at lunchtime, you gotta feed them, right? At dinner time as well, depending on what shift we're talking
I
about.
think Slimy's trying to say something, brother.
She's on mute. Go ahead, Slimy. What do you got, Slimy? No, you're on mute there.
Huh?
You said you were trying to say something?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Well, I did this.
Oh, it was Moto. I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah, Yamato was trying to tell you about the rabbit, but again, the rabbit, I haven't charged the rabbit yet. Give it to mommy and she'll charge it for you. You don't want it to wake up? Well, then you can talk to the dead rabbit if you want. That's a little weird. Here you go.
Wow.
That sounds so weird the way I said it, but it has no battery charge.
We just took a whole different direction, folks. Now we're in the dead rabbit category, which is
It's the rabbit R1.
with the young man from the Titanic.
It's the rabbit R1. And she likes to talk to it, but like it doesn't have a charge because we forgot to plug it in. And I told her she can take it to her mom, plug it in.
Went to a dead rabbit, no context. That before asking.
know, right?
What? What? A dead rabbit.
So back from the rabbit device that needs a charge. So the people need to eat and they need to go to the bathroom. That's what I mean by biological processes. So what happens is you got 3,000 people. Let's call it a nice round even number. 3,000 people flushing the toilet, right? Right. Where does it go? It goes into the sewer system, and they actually probably have a pre-treatment plant right there at the factory because again, with 3,000 people, the sewer company gets to say, hey, we need it to be at this level before we take it in. You need to put it through a septic system or whatever first. Put a little biological treatment on it or something first. And so they do. And then you've got the kitchen. The kitchen, you're not going to waste everything, but there's going to be, there's going to be the what comes off the tray that people don't eat. You got the sauces, and you've got, just the leftover bits because now it's time to get back to the shift and they didn't finish their food. And then you've got the like the end of the carrot or the core of the apple or whatever, um, that people don't eat from the kitchen. That's going to go somewhere, and obviously it's not solid to be ending up in the sewer system. So we're talking about this liquid food waste because the solid would end up either in landfill, compost, or what have you. And so this is the source of the extra nitrates in the river or whatever pollution that these people are accusing Tesla of dumping into the river. So they've done their part. Maybe they're out of spec as far as how much they can. I don't know. Maybe they're out of spec of how much pretreatment they did or did not do. But it goes into the sewer plant, and the sewer plant does their thing, and then they do their release into the river. So at that point, you really need to be mad at the sewer company or the municipality or whoever is running this thing for having the nitrates or whatever. And if it's if it's a matter of them not getting it in the level that they needed, then they can get on Tesla and be like, hey, we said 1,000 parts per million, and you're giving us 8,000 parts per million. You need to fix it. Well, actually, 8,000 parts per million would be yeah, no, this will be more. So yeah, you're giving us 8 times what we've asked for, and we need you to clean it up a little bit because this is human waste we're talking about. And so they've got people firebombing the the transformer for the plant, thinking they'll shut it down. You're supposed to be environmentalists, right? So how does not having electric cars help the environment? I mean, yeah, you want no cars, but no cars isn't going to happen. Again, practicality. No cars is not going to happen. And yeah, ride a train, ride a subway. That's not going to happen either. I mean, it happens way more in Europe, but there's still going to be times where you need to go between places in a private transport. Um, and the public's just not going to happen. Yeah, you can ride a bike, all of that. Guess what? Tesla rented a gas train for quite a while. And then a used electric train showed up, and they have an electric battery train. It's like electric charge and battery, depending on where it's at on the line, doing their commute. So it's not like they are forcing these people to ride in cars. They mass transit, it's working. But reduce, reuse, recycle, right? They had to wait for one whose contract was ending to get refurbished, so they could buy it and put it on the line. But these people would rather blow up a transformer. So the other part is this transformer doesn't just serve the factory. This transformer serves the neighborhoods around the factory. So you're putting people at risk here. You've got food to spoil. You've got medical equipment because let's face it, Germany is aging as well as the rest of the world. And so what if these folks need the power for their medical equipment? It's not a matter of, oh well, we got to restore their power first. There is no power at all because they blew up the transformer, thinking they'd hurt the factory. The factory went down for what was it, 20 hours, 28 hours. They were back up and running super quick. They even made a little video about it. So they're working, and then I don't know how I guess they pulled it from the security feed or whatever. You see the robots going, and then they stop, and then it goes dark. It could have been a recreation, like they could have done it during a just regular maintenance or something. Um, but it was an effective piece. They showed where the factory came to a stop, and then they had the two guys who wanted to finish what they could, and then they had to get out because you can't stay in a building like that without power, backup power, or anything. And so that was handled. Those people went to prison. Then you had some more people on the trees because they were on phase 2 of replacing the cardboard forest with again factory parts and parking lots and whatever they weren't going to use, they were going to replace with the real tree, the ones that belonged in the area. And so now these people are making tree houses and littering the ground, and like they were just like so slovenly. It looked like if you've seen like the documentaries on stuff like Fire Festival or any of these riots where people are just living in filth. And so you you claim that you want to help the tree, but you've now nailed stuff to it. You're living in it, up in it.
And how dumb was that?
Right. I'm sure the trees don't appreciate
The
that. But
Germans are very meticulous. I mean, the cops.
So, should I have to cut? Like, thank you for like giving me a speaker.
Yeah.
I have to ask, who's fixing it?
who's fixing it? It's been handled. They've been dispersed or gone to jail or quit, as the case may be for individual. But now I don't know who's doing the cleanup, because these people, it was filth and squalor on the ground, and you have to get the, well, you don't have to get the tree houses out, but when you cut the tree down, you don't want, that'll definitely change the dynamic when you go to harvest the tree, if there's a structure attached to the top of the tree system.
Yeah, but like, who's fixing it?
I think it's a matter now of the government has to fix it. Government and Tesla together, and so now they've ended up costing themselves, because if the government's doing anything, that's taxes. That, especially if it's something that they were not planning to do, that has to come from somewhere else. So they've either cost themselves in some program that they actually are going to find out that they wanted, but now is gone because they wasted the money cleaning the forest so it could be harvested, or
Yeah, well,
They-
that's just because they don't want it from Canada.
I mean, they're letting perfect be the enemy of the good, and instead of being practical, and so they want no human impact, right? Well, would you want an electric car, or would you want a fossil car? Because they're going to drive a personal car. They're not going to ride a bike. They're not going to starve themselves and wear hair sweaters.
No, those are great questions, but
Yeah.
like, I don't really know what you're trying to accomplish in this conversation, because
We were talking about
no, but it's like, okay, so we have a lot of problems,
um,
and I don't know how to solve them.
try something, but if we don't try anything,
Well,
then
the
we-
conversation's basically vandalism is wrong.
Oh yes, for sure.
And this was large scale vandalism, and it costs money to fix. And the question was, who's going to fix it?
Okay,
And Casey's response is, well, some of it falls onto the German government because it's an infrastructure problem once they did the transformer.
Yeah, that
Some of it's Tesla's problem because they need the transformer to make the cars.
exactly.
To me, I hate violence. I hate
you would say like the German government.
Germany. The one we're discussing is in Germany, because they've also got two in China, one in California, and two in Texas. And they've got subsidiary plants in Michigan.
Okay, well, I'm not understanding.
So
Like, please explain to me, because like,
we were talking about,
I'm pretty learned about like I have several degrees, so I don't know what you're talking
talking about we're, being too perfect focused. We started with the nuclear plants, how they shut them all down, and ended up with the monkey's paw situation of having to buy gas from people who hate them at prices that they couldn't afford, because they did have and like solar, but they didn't have enough solar to support getting rid of their base load, and so
Okay,
and they didn't have any storage.
You mean no? I'm not understanding. Is this in the U.S. or something like that? Or?
This is all currently about Germans, and so we had the German Tesla plant, the German nuclear plants, and so the protests about them throwing paint and gluing themselves to the floor in Volkswagen and that sort of thing, hoping that their eco-terrorism would make people want to be vegan, and wear hair sweaters, and ride the bicycle or whatever.
So this goes back to like the 1930s.
Actually, it could be based on all that for sure, but I was just a modern, it's not perfect, we're not happy crew. But this one was all about.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
So what are you saying about the Germans?
So the
Tesla built a plant
yes.
in the outskirts of Berlin, the far outskirts. They built a plant.
Yes.
They built it next to the forest. The forest was designed to be harvested like tomatoes, cucumbers, potatoes, anything else. And people, for whatever reason, got upset about it.
Yeah, it was all like
So they started protesting, saying they're environmentalists. Then they killed a transformer, which wasn't just feeding Tesla. That transformer, as Casey pointed out,
Okay.
is feeding the local German community. Now all these people have no refrigeration, and heaven forbid if you got diabetes, which that medicine has to be refrigerated, and that's where the conversation is.
Okay, so Casey, thank you for inviting me in. I'm just trying to understand like what we're talking about.
so we're on various topics. I didn't have a notebook today for any particular sets of stories for us to cover, so we ended up on nuclear and solar, and we got
And
into
we're talking about German
yeah,
like
German
technology.
yes, because the France before that we were talking about reprocessing nuclear fuel that France does, and France
Okay, so just let me think about this for a second. But so we march in and we crush Europe like against the Russians and like and the Germans. And what what I'm hearing now is like that's not cool.
um, any judgments on those. What I'm saying is, in a time where they found themselves in need of energy, they didn't have the energy because they shut down their nuke program. Whereas France has some of the most prolific nuke program in the world, including
Okay,
reprocessing.
okay. Well, I'm pretty learned in this, so like I'm trying to understand.
Yes, and so
Like, what are you saying? Like in terms
and
of
so,
like
so the
Ger-
current
you know Germany never had a nuclear program.
so the comparison was how France invested in nuclear and is doing well in it, and Germany was fighting.
Oh yeah, no. France is like completely. They basically have said over the past like 50 years,
Yeah.
like screw you to the United States and to Canada and everybody else.
Yeah.
We're gonna do our own thing.
Yeah, France will do everything their own way. That word is not French enough. We must
Yeah,
change the word.
Yeah,
like
we had a big part to play in that in World War II when
Yeah, we did.
we pushed the other guy. They all wanted to go.
who's
The United States pushed for the other guy, and the French never
okay.
forgot.
Okay, so who is that guy?
So we're not necessarily looking
I'm
at the history and the politics of it all. We're just literally looking at the here and the now. Like what's done is done.
Okay, the here and
Yeah,
the
we're looking at the how and now. of
okay,
today.
so the
We're
here and
looking
the
at today,
the
not-
here
not-
the
not
here
looking
and
in the past.
the here and the now, I will tell you, and I'm very learned in this. France is like the most dickhead nation in the world. They got a lot of nukes.
And that's the part that we're talking about is that they have the most nukes, whereas on the flip side, not too far, their neighbors there went the other way and said, we don't want nukes. We don't want to get the nuke from anybody. We want just straight conventional power and solar. They don't have enough solar to do what they need, and so they had to compromise themselves because they didn't want
whatever about solar.
they didn't want
Whatever solar. I would say uh, the French are actually major dickheads.
Well, we're just talking about the energy part of it all. I mean, everybody behaves differently. Like if you look at the like Quebec has a lot of influence in France. Their Frenchness uh, does show. But
You tell me about Quebec.
no, I'm not. I'm just pointing out that that there are different ways that folks will interact.
Are you Canadian?
I am not. I am not. Where's our Canadian?
No.
We lost-
Well, I am.
Okay, cool.
We didn't even bring Canada into the topic.
I brought in the French. What the French Canadians? What?
Oh, okay. Yep. Well, then, yeah, I guess you open that door.
En français.
My French is so rusty. You want it? I can't get it. I understand
No.
you. I understand you.
I'm just shitting with you guys. Okay?
I understand.
You know.
Okay, so back to the German plan. They've got this this protest they're having, where now they've had to clean up this encampment, and they're still getting the plant. And but now, like we said, that money was not budgeted to have been spent. So their desire for just perfection in environmentalism has ended up probably going to cost. They're going to look at the programs and say, "Oh, well, we need to feed the poor,
So
and we
no,
need
like
to."
I'm asking you, like, what's going on in Germany?
That's what we're talking about right now. And so because now that money that was not planned to have been spent uh, was spent, they're going to have to look and see where they're going to recoup that when they need it for the programs that they decide what is remaining. They're going to say, "Oh well,
I'm
we
actually
need all of
more
these.
I'm actually more concerned about Japan.
Japan's got a whole bunch of situations, but we weren't on them at all. So
Well, no. After the World War II treaties,
but we're not talking about
Japan,
the politics of it all at the moment. So
okay,
so what happened is that money that they wasted because it wasn't planning on spending cleaning up people's trash. They're going to have to decide where they're going to take it from, and they're going to take it from most likely other environmental programs because like, hey, well, this was environmental. We had to clean up the trash. That's cleaning up the environment, right? Because they're not going to take it
okay.
from any of the
So
other
like,
programs.
is your position is like more like we have to clean up the environment?
My position is not to let the perfect uh, ruin any chance at any sort of steps for practical uses. Like look at the Microsoft 3 Mile Island thing.
Okay, I'm not trying to dick you around. I'm just like, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and I'm pretty learned.
We're trying to stay on topic, and right now our topic is France maintained their nuclear reactors. Germany didn't, and how they're coping with it. That's kind of the way the conversation evolved.
Okay, so I understand that now. Like you told me that. France has like a terrible amount of nuclear weapons.
That is one of the risks you have, and that's probably part of the reason why we still don't have reprocessing here today. Is because it scares our not to say our frenemies. Let's call them frenemies. It scares folks in the world if we were to reprocess our fuel.
Yeah, it deals
That'd
with
be-
the SALT II agreement.
Exactly.
It does. It's tied back into
No, no, SALT 2 is between the United States and Russia.
They don't want us making more nukes. They definitely don't want us making more nukes. So Lee's asking a question here. She says, "I see the picture of a home charger. Thinking about installation, what is the best rate? Fast, medium, or slow? How is electrical impacted?" So what's really cool about this particular one that's on screen is it's actually a collaboration between GM and one of the supply companies where it's not just a home charger. There's also an energy gateway in there. And so this is actually a vehicle to X, vehicle to grid in this case, vehicle to home. And what you can do is during an outage, or if you have an intelligent enough gateway, if you have a lot of solar coming in, and you can go ahead and you can pull in solar from charge your car and run your house, or if the power goes out.
I just got back from 5 weeks in the Philippines when there's blackouts all the time.
All the time. And so what you can see here is the if you lose power.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna tell me what I can see.
Not in the Philippines, but on screen, if the car set up in the picture, if that house loses power, I can then take the power from the car and continue running the home at full clip, which is really nice. And so, as far as the question, as far as whether you want to charge the car fast, slow, or medium, you don't want to charge the car too slowly because at some point the thermal system will eat your savings. So if you can charge at 240 versus 120, if you charge at 120 in the heat or the cold, you'll find that the radiator fan has been going and the pumps have been going. The heater.
Oh, really? Are you trying to school me now?
I'm talking to the audience, and so and answering Lee's question. So Lee, if you charge the car too slowly, yes, it's soft on the battery, but then you'll end up wasting power on maintaining the functions of the system. And
Okay,
so
can we switch the conversation to like Teslas?
Lee drives a Tesla. She's getting a new Tesla charger for her Tesla. It's just as a picture of that.
Okay, so like, let's look at the lithium and
she has a practical need to know since she gets the right charger for her Tesla. So if you
I'm just asking the question. I'm asking the question. So like we have to like buy EVs.
You don't have to buy an EV, but I recommend getting an EV. So
How much mining has to go on?
that's the beauty of it. It's the same amount of mining as was on fossil fuels.
4 mining jobs in Colorado. How's that?
Yeah. So with the mining situation, we're going to get back to Lee's question. With the mining, it's the same mining that you get with your oil, except that instead of burning it up and have to do it yet again, you can recycle that battery pack and you get all that back. So back to Lee is you get a situation where if you charge too slowly, it is good for the battery, but it's not good for your pocketbook because you're spending more on the maintenance of keeping that charge system open. So you've got the pumps running to keep the coolant going, keep the temperature even. You've got the radiator fan spinning, and if it's too hot or too cold, then you've got the actual air conditioner or heater.
Are you guys American?
Some of us are. So the situation you have there, if you charge too slowly, you've wasted the extra power on keeping the battery comfortable. If you charge at a medium clip, that's probably the best situation for the car. If you charge a medium clip and only to where you need it to go, except Slimy's car, for instance. Slimy's car hers is the LFP pack. So every now and then she needs to get 100%.
Okay. That's fine.
On Slimy's Tesla, if you don't get to 100% a couple times a month, it will lose track of where it is in the battery, and then that makes it really uncomfortable to drive if you don't know where it's going to die.
Okay.
And so then
I already know that. So.
But Lee asked the question.
Do you know where 60% of your energy comes from?
For me, it comes from my roof, my solar panels. So for Lee's question, if you charge the medium clip, it's the best. And then if you charge,
I'm just asking a question. Do you know where 6% of your energy comes from?
Lee says that they don't have solar panels. So in this house, if I don't use my solar, then it comes from the remaining nuclear plants, and about 15% of it is coming from a methane plant, according to the EIA and their survey of my area. So.
Okay. So like this is just a question.
You know, answering a quick question. So on the fast charging, I charge my car at 72 amps all the time because I can't be bothered to ramp it up and ramp it down. They don't offer 72 amps anymore on the Teslas. When I had it installed at 80 amps. So it's a 100 amp circuit out of my 200 amp house because we were going to buy the second charger for our Model S for the dual charging. It's got 40 amps and 40 amps. It's 80. But
what part of the U.S. do you live in?
So on the
you have to give me a like.
He lives on the East Coast.
Yeah, so
the Middle East Coast.
So the money we saved for the second charger we spent on the order fee for the Model X. So we got the high amp charger on Model X because
East Coast. Do you know where your energy comes from?
The EIA tells me that a good portion of my energy comes from nuclear, 20 to 15% of it coming from methane, like 3% coal. The rest of it is coming from solar from my roof and community solar. So the money we spent, we were going to spend on the charger we used in the order fee for the Model X, which has the high amp charger. So instead of charging at 80 amps, we can charge at 72 amps. And so the car can recharge the 100 amps.
Why do you? No, but like, why do you keep like spewing this stuff?
I'm still answering these questions about charging the car. So ours can charge at 72 amps.
You like a couple questions.
You did, but
where does
Lee was first in line.
60% of your energy come?
Lee was first in line. Let me finish answering these questions, and then we can finish yours. So the car can charge at 72 amps, and I just leave it there. But I have it set to cut off at the right level because for me, it's not worth the micromanagement to go in and mess around with the amperage of what it charges at. It used to be that you'd have to do it from the car, and then eventually they gave us the ability to do it
Well,
from the app.
amperage is very different. So
And so, um,
I'm talking about kilowatt hours.
so to charge this 100 kilowatt hour battery, we can get it done in about 4 hours from displaying 0 to our charge.
Do you know where it comes? Do you know where it comes from?
And that is not as stressful on the battery as the up to 150 kilowatts that it likes to take at the superchargers.
Oh, I'm asking.
I've seen it take about
Do you know?
80 max.
No, do you know where your electricity comes from?
I would be glad to answer some of your questions after we get done answering these questions about how fast to charge your car. And so like I said, the car, this particular car has charged as high as like 179 kilowatts. So I figured that my 17 kilowatts of charging isn't that big a deal on it versus the issue of either having to micromanage a charge or hook it up into my home controller to have it control the car up and down, which I'm glad I didn't waste the effort on it because now Tesla's charging for their API, and I definitely would not have wanted to give them the money to make that happen. So it all worked out. But what I do instead is I set the charge level to be at a reasonable. I keep it at 80 just because I like to spontaneously take long trips, and we don't want to start our trip off with a supercharge. But what I would probably do, since we do work from home, is I should probably keep it at like 60 or 70% float. But 80 is just comfortable for us. The car was shipped when Tesla was recommending 90 for this pack. And I tried 70 on its predecessor, the one that was going to have the 2 chargers. But with the 70, we found that the battery controller would lose track of what was going on. Same way that it finally never charges to 100%, where the battery controller loses track of what's going on inside the battery. And that is not fun. So instead of 70, we said, all right, let's compromise to 80. And that's what we're doing. So yeah, so if we absolutely need to, we can come in at midnight, take a quick rest, and the car's ready to go at like 4:05, 4:15. But the beauty is, if we've been traveling through midnight, we aren't ready to go out again until probably 6 a.m., 7 a.m., depending on, if I was working in an office or something. So for that, the 48 amp isn't as bad as I always describe it as feeling a little more cramped. It's not as bad as I make it out to be. That all the news is.
Why are you talking about amps?
Amps is part of charging. That's how you get your kilowatts. Is volts times amps. So I would say get your fast home charger. So on your case, I would say 48 amps is not bad to charge 11 kilowatts. But
do you know voltage?
Volts times amps is kilowatts. So to get her 11 kilowatts, you have 240 volts times 48 amps, and that's for 11 kilowatts.
No, it's way higher than that.
So what I would do in your case is I would go ahead and there are some.
No, in my case,
there are not you.
In my case,
in Lee's case, I would go ahead and get the new version Tesla wall connector because it's overall it's the best price per value wise.
like
And in Lee's case, and so the you can sometimes find cheaper.
do you understand what I'm talking about?
Like I said, we're finishing the Lee's turn, and then we get to your turn. So in your case, Lee, I would get the Tesla wall connector, and I would get it wired in at the full amperage, unless you have like a 100 amp house or something where you need to lower it down a little bit. And I would not feel bad about lowering it down because the medium speed is best. You're going to sleep, and it's going to charge while you're sleeping. But I like it to just be able to be ready if I come in low and I want to change my clothes and get back out to something else. This doesn't happen very often. Like in the 8 years I've had these cars, or 12 years I've been driving with a plug-in. It just
you're talking about cars like where you get to charge them?
Yes, Tesla has been the majority of my plug-in ownership, and so the you want to get
so you know what I'm talking about?
Not yet, because I haven't addressed any of your questions yet. We're looking at Lee. So Lee, like I said, you'll find the overall.
Why do you keep calling me? Why do you keep calling me My name's Steve.
Steve, before you came in, Lee had asked a question, and we're answering Lee's questions, and then we'll take your turn. Steve. So, the Tesla wall connector overall has the most stable low price for the features, and what you're going to find is that
I'm not talking about cars.
We lost.
I understand why you're talking about cars.
Hang on 1 second.
I left because I made changes in my profile.
Oh, you made changes in your profile? All right, let me bring you
And
back.
in order to claim it, yeah,
Okay, let me make you
I
back
put
here.
up a submarine host.
All right, let me bring you back as
But
Ken.
in order to do everything, I had to leave the room and power down and come back.
I got you. All right, so there's your co-host back.
Highlander, I love your voice.
Gotta bring back Slimy.
You have a voice. You have like an amazing voice.
Thank you, sir. Jeff Lutz of well, he's big in the community. He said I have a radio voice, and I thought,
Well,
it's all bad.
You
He
definitely
said,
did.
no, you need to broadcast baseball. I'm still a 10-year-old kid at heart. I'm like, oh, yeah.
You should do it. Like seriously, like I heard your voice and I was like, oh my god.
I'm a submarine tour guide. That's all I can offer up left.
All right, we got Marcus in the house. Welcome, Marcus.
Hello, everyone.
Before we
Hey, welcome, Marcus.
continue on to
Yeah,
else, let's finish.
no, like you got.
Okay, so to finish answering Lee's question, I would recommend the 3rd gen Tesla wall connector because it has the best stable price. Like the value you get for them is just they've always been the cheapest. Maybe not the very cheapest. Like I found one over here that's on clearance for whatever, but that can charge you at your car's limits with the most functionality. And the Gen 3 adds in the Wi-Fi and the ability to, if you have like an Airbnb, you can control access to that charger. You can say, all right, this is my guest spin number. They can charge, nobody else can. Or like in my grandmother's case with the bed and breakfast, they can say, all right, we've got 3 guests coming with electric cars. These are the ones authorized to charge whenever, for how much, and this is when they leave, and all of that is nice to have. Or in your case, like if you're just private like me, and you just enroll your car, and you don't have to worry about locking it up in the garage or having anybody come in and steal your power by plugging in their Tesla while you're out at work or something. And so what you'll find with that is that they sell it at Best Buy. They sell it a couple other places, and you might even find a better price than the already great Tesla prices. So if it's absolutely, you're just penny pinching, you just need, I only have $300 for a charger, you can find something. But if you could spend the full $500, $600, $700, whatever it is this week, I would go with the Tesla one. And the beauty of the Gen 3s is I've had this happen to another friend of mine where something in the unit went bad. And in my case, if something went bad in my Gen 2, I have to get an electrician in, do it all over again. In his case, the electrician's work was already done because the Gen 3 and the Gen 3.5 with the power share, or the Gen 3.5 with the universal connector where it has the J1772 and the Tesla connector, the NACS, it would the base plate is different than the charger. So all he had to do was turn off the breaker, unscrew 2 screws, pop off the faceplate, popped a new one on, and then mailed that back to Tesla, and he didn't have to call an electrician and then turn the power back on, which was pretty cool. Yes. So with that, I recommend charging at a medium speed to be best. I recommend just charging as fast as your home will allow the car to charge without having to worry about stuff like turning off the oven or the dryer. And then for you, I definitely would recommend a Tesla connector, but for the others, the only ones I would recommend not getting a Tesla charger for is if your car can charge faster than 48 amps, faster than 11 kilowatts. So if you've got a Hummer EV, or if you've got the Ford F-150 Lightning, any of these cars that can charge at 60 amps, 80 amps, those ones I would go ahead and I'd either get the old Tesla connector with your adapter, or I would get one of the newer chargers that can charge at the full speed. If, like me, you might occasionally need to charge at the full speed of the car. if you never need to charge faster than that, then again, I'd go back to the Tesla charger. It is the best overall value for what we're trying to accomplish with putting it in the house, knowing it's compatible, knowing it won't have any troubles for you. I would go with the Tesla connector. So Marcus, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, I'm good, man. Can't get no racing in because the weather, Texas weather, is all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. Highlander's
I
got
want
his hand up. I'm going to go ahead.
I want to
No, go
show
ahead.
you some. I want to show you. I'm in the garage actually out here. I'm trying to flip my
Yeah.
camera around. This is my first
Okay.
time doing this on my mobile, and
Let me do a highlight on you. Or actually, I don't have to do a highlight. I can turn off. Since we're not even discussing this article, we can turn off the article, and now we're all big.
hold on one second. Let me see. I'm trying to see how I flip. I just had it up, man. It's how to flip the camera.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay. Well, yeah. There
I
you
don't
go.
see
Let's
him on
see.
the screen.
He's on the right hand side of the screen. Previously, he was under the date, so that might have had an effect on it. Oh, you want milk? I got milk for you. I got milk. Here you go.
Okay. Can you see that?
Ah, yes. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
got
So
a Gen 2, right?
this a Gen
Or
2
Gen 3
here.
with a black plate. Yeah, Gen 2 there.
Right.
The Elon
This
one,
a
right?
Gen 2. This a Gen 2 I use on White Ghost for time, because it's a 2013. It does pretty well. It does what 40 amps.
Okay, but that's good. It was 40 or 80. Yeah.
Yeah, it does up to 40, which is good, especially out here in Texas. When it get hot, I wanted to go and
Yeah.
charge and get to it, because I have to sometimes crack. I got it insulated in the garage, which it helps out a lot because it gets hot out here. This thermostat can show 100 easily here in a couple, just in a matter of a couple of days here, because we, Texas weather. But yeah, so speaking, that's the older one, and now this one, now Smoke got his own one. This the newer one here.
Yeah.
This one charged. This the newer one here, like you was just stating.
And so what happened with his is he had to take the front off and send it back to Tesla, and they sent him a new one because it was just a warranty defect. And so I like that you got the place that's not the stock
color.
cover. You got the cover that matches the car. I like
Right. I they did the this the glass here on the 3, so I like this. I wanted to match. I started doing a red one. Like, nah, there's too much red on the wall, so I want to break it up.
Yeah.
I think it's only fair to allow it to match Smoke here. So
yeah, I like that they sell.
Can you post it on the purple pill, and then maybe I'll be able to see it? So I don't even see him as speaker or listener.
Oh, he's on the YouTube on the Extreme, the video stream.
Okay, well, we know what happens if I try to switch.
Yeah, don't switch. It's not worth the switch.
No, yeah.
So he's showing us the Gen 3 wall connector on his wall, very red, and so he's saying that it'd be too much red, and I agree. But I do like that they let you match the car. Like it's the same paint that goes in your car goes on these faceplates, so it just matches. It's beautiful.
Right.
So that was my answer.
Before it was changed.
Sticking with the home charger theme.
Yeah.
For a quick update, I mentioned I gifted my sister. She's got the 2023 Nissan Ariya.
Yeah,
she loves it.
Yeah.
But it's got that old, that I can't remember. The not Tesla Next charger.
J1772. Yeah.
So through Amazon, I bought her the adapter because she lives very close to Myers.
Yeah.
I know they have the chargers. I put it up online. And I asked her about it this morning. She's like, well, I still haven't used it yet. I'm charging it home.
Oh, okay. That's good.
So I couldn't get any feedback. We got onto another family conversation, but so I'm just waiting for some feedback on her adapter.
She can't move. But if I answer I think I can answer on the tablet or something.
And KC,
yeah.
Can I show one more thing while I'm out here for a second?
Yeah, you
I
do
just
that,
like to.
and I'm gonna try and find a way to look at this screen.
I'm trying the solar panels. Like I say, I don't do too much of that, but we got 52 panels, basically.
Nice.
And we make our own energy pretty much. The electric company we with, that we actually goes back to the grid basically. We produce our own energy as long as we get some good sunlight. Today is a little gloomy today though, but it's doing pretty well. I can't complain. We're doing laundry and was charging up earlier because I was out last night or whatever. But we pretty much make our own energy though, so we can't go wrong with that though. So I advise, that's a good investment that I'm pleased of making here with the solar panels as well. and you can control everything through the app, you know, which I love it as well too, in real time.
Go see what he wants. Sorry, there's somebody at the door distracting us.
Okay. So
I
yeah,
can't do it. I can't do it on the phone because if I do, then it'll just disconnect you guys.
can you guys see that, Casey, right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. We've been through this. Don't do that.
Don't do what? Oh, you can see.
Disconnect the phone or anything.
Oh,
Don't,
definitely.
But yeah,
yeah.
because as you can see, we making our own. It's actually going to solar panels, even with the sun not out shining. It's actually going back to the it's topping the walls off for tonight. And you see this our grid right here. So we're not pulling from the grid. We actually getting credit as we speak. As we speak right here.
That is good.
Free money. That's what I'm talking
I
about.
love free money.
Invest up front and get that free money coming back.
Exactly. So that's why I love, you know, the power of the what we do.
Yeah.
What's good, Casey?
What's good? How you doing, Dan? It's been a good minute.
I'm good. I've been busy, but
so since you were last on, you got a TV.
I just seen earlier you talking about the cheap car.
Hey, Dan.
And I don't know if I can get this in the background.
What?
The new Nero.
Okay.
Cool.
So yeah, a lot of some of the best work, getting your alternates outside of Tesla.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't notice the great options, and actually, like I changed my headlight on this one, people were surprised that it didn't cost a lot. So with using a rebate, which is a good thing,
yeah,
it definitely made this affordable. Being they came at $16,700, it was a great deal. So you were able to educate a lot of people on it. Honestly, I kind of like it. I love it actually. So
yeah,
give me my impromptu. Some of
how
the
many miles you got on it now?
I'm gonna turn this around.
Hey, Dan, what state you're in again?
Georgia.
Georgia. Okay.
So let me see if I can get my camera to turn around. Oh, there we go. Video settings. Facing back. There we go. All right. So everybody can see that, right?
You're pushing me.
I see neighbor. I see people.
That wasn't a neighbor. I don't know who that
so
was.
most of my stuff I've gotten used to here.
You can.
Radio media off. Let me turn the AC off. So most I can get here, I've learned to do most of my own. My favorite part of these is doing my drive modes and going in between certain ones like sport mode, which is absolutely insane to actually be able to pull off. You're actually able to pull that off, so that's kind of fun.
Hey, brother,
here.
do you have hardware 3 or hardware 4?
Switching between modes.
But do you have
Go
hardware
ahead.
3 or hardware 4?
Which one of us? Marcus?
The speaker from down in Georgia.
Oh, he has a Kia.
I have the Kia Niro.
Cool. I like more EVs, the better.
Exactly. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
sister's got a Nissan.
Yeah. Marcus.
Yeah.
I think
One
has hardware 4 in smoke and AP0 in White Ghost.
Yeah. What I'm starting to see a lot is sorry, Case, if I cut you off. What I'm starting to see a lot is a lot more owners, from the Mustang Mach-E's to the EV6s, the Lightnings. I see a lot more Lightnings coming through as well.
Yeah.
So
I see a
for
lot
me,
of
this
Mach-E's
one
now.
is a really good experience for it.
Yeah.
And next to nothing on my commute. Now it's a daily in office.
Yeah.
There's a station where I can actually do the charging for free.
Yeah.
So it's
I love
nothing
when
but
you charge at work. Yeah.
a small bus fare to get down the street. to make it, so I can use quote unquote the actual free charger for the stations, for the people that need to use the station. So
I had to do that once. I had a free charging at work facilities, but my building was a different building than the charger, so I had a little bit
yeah,
of a hoof, about a quarter-mile walk from my charger to my office.
yeah. So that's definitely what I like on this one. So I want to see. So with here, ooh, I hope that ain't looking too bad for y'all. Let me
Oh,
fix
it's
this a
pollen
little bit
season. So you
better.
know how it goes. Camera picks all that up, and even though we can't see it.
Yeah, it's gonna pick up the wrong thing. All right. Yeah, there it is. All right, so I'm gonna get a little bit in closer. So you see the sport mode. Yeah, let's see if I can.
Well, you're looking for
I
it,
have the
brother.
auto
I'll
park
jump in
system.
real quick. So earlier in the, my bad, I'll be quiet.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, so we were talking about, I want to use DV. All right, something practical.
Yeah.
I live in an apartment, about to move in. No place to charge it.
Yeah.
But I'm also looking to move to either Indiana or Illinois. I'll leave it at that. And because I'll be in a
Actually,
maintenance position, and they're both electric vehicle places.
Okay.
If they don't have one, I'm maintenance. And
Yeah.
people have met me, Casey, you'll find out. I'll just do it. I'll come in off shift to stay over. I'll run the conduit, and I'm going to put that puppy outside.
There's that. So Marcus's company has
Better to do it and ask forgiveness later.
Yeah.
okay, so about that.
Has a lot of workplace charging. And you're gonna
Honestly, I don't have too much home charging. But I've learned very well adapting to charging out. I usually charge this weekend I charge before I do anything else. And by the time I end of the day, I recharge again. So after this, I'll probably do some more driving. I get a lot more questions. People are surprised when they get in the car that it's electric. As far as it was wild at the train station. There was actually somebody who had a camper on the back of their Lightning. Needless to say, they can't stay there a lot anymore. But they were there for at least 2 or 3 good nights.
Nice.
Walking their dog and the whole thing. Again, just leave the station.
For those who don't realize, the Lightning is like the Cybertruck and the Chevys, where most of the trims have onboard power. So if you're taking in power from the charging station and you've got an electric camper, it's a little bit of a,
I think part of his was
Go ahead.
He probably didn't get to the point where he knows almost everything about it. It was more of I can use this cost effectively. I'm pretty sure if he thought about catching a train somewhere and then come back to it, it might be, he might have a process. Yeah. And as far as that asking for forgiveness to permission, I used to catch Uber from a different angle, and and it's one thing to see a transit cop scoping out the front. So it's like, yeah, let me go find this bus real quick. So it was a little bit easier to commute, interact with actual people, talk with the bus drivers, give them a more positive day because they do a lot. But I do quite enjoy this. Not home charging is one of those hurdles you get over, but you'll sit in a shop where you charge. Go for it.
I have a question for you guys. How old are your kids?
My kids are grown. I got grandbabies.
Oh, my kids are grown.
How old is his car?
No, I mean it. Like, I'm just like saying, like, how old?
My kids are babies, but one thing my son did do, he changed the battery on this car, the 12 volt. So it was really quite cool.
That wasn't the question.
Very much so. So ignore that beep. That's when I leave the car in there.
You're telling me to be careful. Who said that? I was just asking a question.
While I'm thinking about it before I get out, I got to do something. Look, I can't say out here in Austin, I've been noticing a lot of apartment complexes and subdivisions now, which is pretty cool. I wish I was around that. They're building charging stations for the resident. And I'm talking about, I thought that was so cool. at the apartment complex not too far. You know, they building the Samsung plant out here in Austin. They building a community just for those people and so on. And they got a whole section just dedicated for EV charging in the apartment complex.
I like that. So when I was
That is so sweet.
it is. I was looking at ones that
Are
had,
we back to,
or I was looking at
are we
ones that
back to
had
the EV charging stuff?
It's an EV and green show. Absolutely, we are. So when I was looking for ones, I looked for ones with plugs, and I'd also look for ones that had a public charger or a like an access charger. And like you said, the ones that are now coming up that actually want to attract this business. Like I said, like with me as a landlord, it was next to free for me to invite Tesla owners, and now I can address all the owners. But when you've got a multi-tenant situation, you only got to put in just a few $100 extra, which is like a rounding error on your construction costs. And you could get like 20, 30 spots hooked up for electricity. And if you spend just a little bit more than that, you can get a meter. You can get a meter directly to the tenant, or you can get upset to.
Is that what you've been talking about?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. And Kacey, I offered this apartment complex in the very north side of Toledo.
Yeah.
And I said, and the guy understands me. I said, I'll put it in. And I have an electrician buddy who has his contractor's license. He'll come in, verify it, turn 2 screws.
That way they get their insurance.
It's licensed to code.
Exactly.
Do it all the time. Electricians do this. They do. They inspect it. It'll get inspected.
Well, you don't think I'm an electrician?
And that's, I just think it's great when apartment complexes or even some of the condos like I used to live in, like the one Mark just featured, where it's now part of the standard package. I think that's just awesome.
And another thing with the contractor shared with me, which I thought was cool on that, he was telling me it was kind of cheaper it was cheaper for them doing it now than coming in on back on down the line building it for the apartment complex. It was cheaper for them to do it then as they doing construction of the site, which it makes sense.
Yeah, that's right, sir. When you can put it in as the original bill, it's pennies on the dollar. It literally is, folks.
Is this like somebody in your state or something like that?
Actually, Mark's a Canadian.
I met Mark last summer in Muskegon, Michigan. He hosts his own show where Kacey and Patrick, the 3 of them have their own show, Tesla and Friends. Mark's in Canada, and he's a spider eater.
Okay. No, I'm interested. Like, I'm interested now because I'm Canadian. You guys know that. So, like, who's Mark?
And the name of my tongue, the town name, Kitchener, Ontario, and
he lives. Take the 401k and follow the little road.
I don't think I lived there.
He hit Kitchener and he's up.
I don't think my dad went to Waterloo University.
My ex's husband lives there.
He features the Waterloo Electric Club all the time. So,
hey Kacey,
I'm interested because now it's like a totally different story. So like I'm just asking.
I'm sorry to cut y'all off for a second, but I saw a comment. I think Lee was asking. Right quick before I get off, I see Leah asked, should the electric run through the walls or outside? She was talking about the wall connector, correct?
Yeah. So I would say whatever fits your budget, because once the house
right. So
it costs more.
Let me explain. Right. Let me show this right quick. Right. So this is another thing too about that. So if you're going to hold on. So for example, this one right here, it only runs. It got a 50. It got this dedicated. It got a 50 amp on this one, right? Because it's right here, the less power. But that one right there, that one had to run. That one got an 80 amp. That one got an 80 amp.
No. I want to make sure.
Our Canadian friend, let the other gentleman finish speaking.
That one got an 80 amp, and it's running on the panel on the side of the house over here. It would have cost so much money for them to run it. It was just going to cost so much money by it being over here in the 12 panel boxes on the side of the house over here. So what they did was they did run it. The electrician ran it. Let me see if I can show right quick. They ran it. On the surface. Well, they ran it through the wall. Secure it through that way. But it comes out the back of this garage right here. Yeah. going over the house. If you can see it right there through conduit, you know, it was cheaper that way. You see it right there, the conduit right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Work.
So to get
We're
on the
talking
other side of
thousands
the house
sometimes.
because they had to get on this side of the box where the sub panel at. Let me show you right quick. And see,
Exactly.
that would have been a lot to do since we had the house built.
Yeah.
I would have did it over there, but see, they had to run it. There it goes. It's coming down there, as you can see.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice and
Yeah.
professional and done. But you see,
Well,
I got a
brother,
lot going
man,
on over here.
to your point,
I'm off the grid.
a good
So
friend of the show, Brian White, aka Future Ozza on YouTube. Let's give the props.
Yeah.
can't go wrong.
And his show or his house, it's in geographically the northwestern United States, right, Oregon area. And
Projecting
his
on it.
charger is outside, but it has one of them
Yes.
non-enclosed garages. You know, it's like
Yes.
it's got a roof and some side
Yeah,
things, but
yeah.
so it keeps the rain and snow off you. But his charger's outside. They're rated to be outside,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
as long as it's installed properly,
Right.
no
That's the other,
Yes.
issues other than
that's the other thing about
I'm
those
a
Tesla.
garage guy.
Yeah.
That was it's ready to do out there. Like this is gonna try once I get my cyber. You know, this is long enough to do the cyber truck when they be parked out here as well. So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. But
that's why I put it right
that is
here.
something to consider. Yeah. That is something to consider if you get a non-Tesla charger. Is they're not all outdoor rated. My first one is
Correct.
indoor only.
Well, yes,
Correct.
Teslas are. And another thing, and Brian White was AK Futuraza was the first of all the YouTubers to show there's a company that makes extension cords.
Yes. They do.
Outdoor rated, jump up and down on them, let the cat try to eat the stuff type deal. Really good, solid. A lot of reputable YouTubers have shown it. So you can get an extension cord if you have an outside, even if you have in your garage, and for whatever reason,
Yeah.
the outlet's not in the best ideal condition.
Yeah. Like me and Mark.
You can buy that extension cord, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. There you go.
There you go. What Marcus and I did was they just put them near enough to the garage door that they can go under the garage door. And as long as your cable is thinner than the weather stripping, the little squishy bit at the bottom of the door, you can just run it under that, and you can charge with your indoor charger in that first garage spot outside the garage door. That's
Oh, yeah.
another trick. Yeah.
Let me show you. There's no problem. There's no problem for this too. Let me show you right quick. I mean, no problem at all. Like if I park, I got it back in now, so I go that way. But if I come straight in the garage, you know, it's been times where I do it outside as well. I can plug it out here and the garage will let down on this. It's no problem at all.
Yeah.
It's no problem at all. So
yeah. Thankfully, with garages, there are very few of them that are thin enough that they would crush the cord. But they do exist. So if you check your weather strip and make sure it's as thick as your cable. Otherwise, your cable becomes a weather strip, and that gets expensive. But I've only seen like 3 of those in my lifetime. In like regular residential situations. Yes, baby. You burped and you threw up. What would you like?
Well, hey KC, I gotta get back in the comments for a minute, man. I gotta handle something. I'm listening in the comments though, still supporting the show as well. Wish I can stay on longer, but I gotta handle something because I got a bigger race coming up next week, and we got to get this.
Tell about it. Where's that?
It's going to be out in Oklahoma
yeah,
City, man.
What's this all about, brother? Take one moment, and thanks for dropping in, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a special one-on-one plaid here. It was custom. It was custom built for my passion for racing. I'm a drag. I've been in racing since I was little, but everybody know racing can be a money pit thing, especially things constantly breaking, et cetera, et cetera. But when Tesla first introduced the plaid, and we know where they're going, and what it can do, and so on, so the right people, we know this is the direction we want to go. So we promote, and I go to the drag race a lot and upset a lot of pro-modded cars because a lot of them they underestimate the electric power. I'm just trying to show them the future is here, and we do everything. We do everything all safe and safe and everything. We got safety and everything first here. Roll cage.
Roll cage right there.
Custom carbon fiber Farco seat. Custom seats. We need parachute because this car do a certain number, the track will kick you off there. So we do everything safe, practice safety first, and don't give no reason to, right. So and this is my baby, this is my legacy here. This is a 2013 P85 Plus. The last year that
Plus.
Tesla did the rear-wheel drive before they went to all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And this particular VIN is a special VIN because, like I said, it was a limited run that they did this with the rear-wheel drive.
Yes.
And I got, like I told KC, I got free unlimited supercharger with this car. This is my daily car. I just went on and upgraded the hardware system to all the new stuff. So I can still do. It was worth the investment.
Yeah,
because
look how
I can.
fast that is.
Let me show you. I can do everything pretty much, except for autopilot because it didn't have. But I got all the updated infotainment system in here, updated navigation, everything. So
yeah.
And then I like the yoke so much. I put it in here because I just love the experience of that. And then the view, I can see my dash. I love this to be able to see the dash. So I just like to do things. What's that?
It makes it so much easier to see the dash. Yes.
Yes. So I like to do things, I like to do things different. I call this my Tesla showroom garage over here. I call it. I do a lot of filming for my content out here when I'm not at the track and so on. So
you still didn't tell them where they can see you. Where can they see you at?
Yeah, you can follow me easy, just EV. Let me show you. It's real easy and simple. I'm gonna explain what that means. It's at EV Smoke ATX. That basically just represent electric vehicles. Smoking people on the track are either getting smoked. ATX is Austin, Texas. So EV Smoke ATX, real easy and simple on all platforms.
There you go. All the platforms.
We got some big things happening. I touch out to some good guys. And I can say this, I work for Tesla as well out here in Austin. So I'm in the inside doing what I do. Love doing every day, dealing with electric vehicles,
Yeah. But you did all this before you started working for Tesla.
That's correct. Yes.
There's a brother man after my own art.
Yeah.
I just love fixing stuff. I've been doing it for free. I fixed the barber pole. What's a barber without the barber pole? It's my local barber.
Correct. Yeah, my brother
Toledo in that neighborhood. Go ahead, man.
I said that thing's gotta be spinning. You said you fixed the barber pole.
It's I got the light working. The motor's a whole nother story, but she's willing to invest, and I did it for free. Actually, she gave me a Bud Light, which it's not my choice, but hey, I took it. It was cool.
It works.
I got a 2 beer limit. I actually don't drink beer. I drink stout. But brother, man, it's good to hear your feedback on this and
appreciate
being up in the Great Lakes area. I don't get to hear a lot about what's going on down south and all that. So
we got some. Hey, if I was there now, I can show you. We about to have some. In a couple of days here, we about to have a couple cyber cabs going around here in Austin. They're gonna be riding around here because they was doing them at the plant, coding and things like that. But now they about to release here in a day or two. They finna start be driving around Austin, the cyber cabs.
Looking forward to that. Give me a buzz when
definitely.
As soon as you know.
I got something to tell you important that you'll like. Just give me a call when you get off the live, okay?
After this, I'll give you a call. Real quick before you go, Lee is asking if you can say how much they normally charge for that MCU upgrade.
I did a couple of years. They charge
they went down since we did it, or since we got the option to do it.
I want to say 1,100 or 1,000. It was 1,100 or 1,000, which is well worth it. It was something like that. It wasn't nothing crazy. But they replaced the screen, and then at that time, because that car old, my screen was getting those little bubbles. My old screen was getting those bubbles at the time. Yeah, because that's a 2013. I want to say 11. Hey, Lee, I'll find exact. I'll look up go by my invoice in my app, and when I get the minute here, but I want to say about 1,100, something like that. It wasn't nothing crazy.
Okay. About the same as what all 300 would pay for the hardware 3 upgrade from hardware 2.5.
I mean, it's well worth it because the GPS is faster. I mean, it got all the new stuff. Like I say, you sit in a supercharger. You can watch your Netflix, your YouTube. It's clear, it don't lag, and the Wi-Fi or the 4G is on 4G LTE too versus the 3G, depending on how old your vehicle is. But yeah,
definitely. And then
it's not nothing crazy.
Camera, because some of them are in a certain age range. If you have a great camera, but the old computer, your camera gets an upgrade. Not because they changed the camera, but just because the new computer can take the full feed. The old one was dumbing it down.
That's correct.
Cool.
All right. Hey, congrats. And like I say, EV Smoke ATX. Follow me on all platforms. Check out the YouTube. We got some nice, good content. I'd like to educate people because there's a lot of people out here misled. And, I was like that at one point before I got into EVs, electric, and so on. You know, I did my homework research, and I'm like, this is the only way to go. Like I said, we invested, and I see my investment well worth it. You know, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
even driving up, like I try to tell
AC, can
people,
you put
even
his information
driving
in the
cars.
purple pill for us?
Yeah, I'll put it up in the purple pill.
All right,
Um,
y'all take it easy. I'll be
Okay,
back in the
thanks, bro.
comments. Okay.
okay, we'll do. And then Slimy had brought us the slate. I didn't read much on it, but let's go ahead and look at it and talk about the slate. Are you familiar with that one, Highlander?
I don't know who's on YouTube. I think at the moment it's you and I on X. But like I say, I'm applying for a job to the company. I'm just driving up to Troy. It's like 40 minutes away.
Yeah.
I'm going to put on my fire retardant electrician's long sleeve shirt, my kilt, and I'm going for it.
Yeah.
I placed my $50 deposit. I mean,
There you go.
why not?
Go there, go ahead.
They sold me when they said no paint shop, and I've worked in 2 of them, right? SMC, you might hear the word tossed around, SMC,
Yeah.
sheet molded composite. It's fiberglass, and it is so
Yeah, that is
damn
really smart.
toxic.
It's toxic. Ooh.
It is so toxic. We had to store it in a refrigerated warehouse, which I used to hang out in before I knew how toxic it was, because it was nice and
This is
cool.
cool. Yeah.
And then, so it goes into a machine that feeds it, and they're always breaking. So somebody, and they weren't air conditioned, so whether it was the safety department or somebody outside said, that ain't happening. You got to air condition this stuff. It's got to be chilled. The only power drops were 110 and 240, and they bought 480 air conditioners. So literally a pallet sat outside of maintenance
Yeah.
for over 6 months because they either couldn't have returned them or somebody was too embarrassed. I don't know. That happens all the time in manufacturing. Somebody orders the wrong parts. That's why I say buy one and then buy 20. Always just buy one and then buy 20.
Like that. All right. So Slimy sent us this one here. I'm about to put on the screen. Paste and go.
Oh, there she is. My co-host. Good. I can go to the bathroom.
It doesn't think I'm signed in. So before I go on screen, I'm gonna sign in to X. I don't know why I don't think I'm signed in.
So my point was, with no paint shop, and there's such a pain in the ass for everybody, maintenance, production,
Yeah, that's why Cybertruck doesn't use it.
EPA.
Yeah.
You got a paint shop, the EPA is coming to visit. I think it's a federal mandate or something.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on it, but they come around, and it's like this huge, weird aerospace vacuum that sucks up the fumes and particulates, and they have the NASA space shuttle bricks inside of it.
Yeah.
They superheat it to get rid of the fumes and the particulate, and then you got this tiny little bit of dust that looks like it came from a crematorium or something left.
Just a little thin little layer. Yeah.
But so the company I work for was in North Baltimore, Ohio, and it's called CSP, Consolidated Structural Plastics, I think. And now it's Tygen.
Okay.
So you can't even look up CSP. It's Tygen, and they're huge. The irony is, I used to work for Bud Wheel. That's why Autoline, John McElroy, responded back to me because
Yeah.
I told his kid a couple times. His kid's the moderator and producer and all that.
Yeah.
Tell your dad I worked at Bud Wheel. I worked at Bud Wheel. Well, Bud Wheel was huge. And we had the plastics division. That was one of the spinoffs of the plastic divisions. And so, yeah, I have a high degree of familiarity. What was funny was watching another YouTube channel, which I dropped like a rock, because they got a guy who's an expert in his field.
Yes.
He was not an expert in this field or another field, which I've been doing for 30, 40 years. That's what I do. I work on automation. And he embarrassed himself to the point, like, I just can't even follow this stuff anymore. But getting rid of the paint shop is such a huge money changer. And then they talked, and I got it first on Sandy Monroe's, and then all the other channels like Misco Electric. She's awesome. Her name's Lacey. Her husband, the producer's name's Tim. They moved down to Tennessee. Oh, I could go on. And other people have been picking the story up. What I loved, and I'm like, I got to work for this company.
Yeah.
They're going around to garage sales to get the furniture for the office, which is the opposite of Lucid, Fisker. Well, we'll leave Lucid out of it for the moment. They got Uncle Sheldon's money. Yeah, you know, they're spending like Fisker and all these companies, Lordstown, spending huge amount of money. Meanwhile, you've got angel investors, the poor schmucks like you and me who are taking our little bit of stock money and putting it in there.
Yeah.
They're flying around in their corporate jets,
Yeah.
buying brand new leather chairs.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Pete Gruber went off on a rant like you can't believe. And because he invested heavily in a couple of these puppies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if they're going out there and some of the furniture just got put outside the way you'd see in a bad neighborhood, which is where I live.
Oh.
Stuff gets put outside, and if you're lucky, it'll say free on it. Otherwise, you just take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how they're operating.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. That's a little bit like put the expensive stuff outside. Okay.
And this is Slate. We're talking about the little Slate truck.
Yeah, Slate.
They're running thin.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one, they've got some money from Jeff and they're whatever can be mechanical.
Yep,
is.
Jeff and the guy's name's like that Guggenheim Museum in New York.
Oh, okay. So
Apparently he's got big deep pockets.
Yeah, can you two tell me more about it? Because like this was something that came up while I was dealing with the colicky baby.
Well, so it's the company's based out of Metro Detroit. The plant's going to be in Indiana. They bought an old plant, which I'm a huge favorite of. Which, God help me if I get this position. You wouldn't believe what position. Yeah, no. I just mean there's so much responsibility. I'll be like, literally, buy me the cot. I'm going to Harbor Freight and buying my cot. So I will have to live there for 6 months, and I'm happy to do it, brother. I am.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Live in a van, live in the plant. I'll have control of the pipe fitters. I'll make sure I have a shower.
Yeah.
Hey, it's all good in my book. But they're literally building a bare bones, affordable little tiny truck.
What do they say? Under 20,000?
We're China. It was great fun watching everybody do the show, and they'll kill us in their technology. They really will.
Yeah, they will.
This is a bare bones Detroit, Indiana, Great Lakes truck. It's tiny. No paint shop. It's like the Ford Model T.
Oh.
You can have any color you want as long as it's slate gray, because that's what comes off the
line?
The steam press.
Go ahead, Flammy.
Yeah, off the line. That's it. But they offer decals and wraps. They really did their homework, and Sandy Monroe's team was involved from the beginning. I was wondering what these sneaky frickers. It's Sunday. Let's say. I was wondering what they were up to.
Yeah.
I touch base from time to time, and they actually correspond with me.
Cool.
I'm like, they're into something. I know all the non-disclosure stuff, but
yeah,
that's what it was. So from ground one, they're just like, okay, a battery, a motor, and 4 wheels.
We got it.
Literally, that's how they did it. Sandy's like, nope, that's it.
That's what it takes sometimes.
And it's got nothing in it. I mean, it's got what the majority of Americans need right now. Do we all want to drive a Royce or Mercedes? Hell yeah. I want to drive the Model X.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to say it. Can I afford it? Are you kidding me?
Not like we used to.
Really? I got to take out a loan to get my auto insurance paid. This thing is designed to be dirt cheap. So it doesn't have any of the computerized stuff. You know what they said? Yeah. We got the greatest cell phone app. That's it. You take your cell phone, buy your own monitor. There you go. There's your GPS. And that's what I do in my damn Dodge minivan. The radio got broken in an accident 6 years ago in Toledo. I don't have a radio. I got my radio, my cell phone.
Yeah.
I do everything through my cell phone. That's it. And it's got roll-up door windows. 2 doors, roll-up windows.
Yeah. It's Slimy was trying to say something real quick.
It's a truck, but you can get a SUV kit and turn it into an SUV,
like the old Jeeps.
And then it has like the crank. It has the crank windows.
Yep.
So they're manually to roll down.
Those ones also didn't break anywhere near as often as the electric ones.
Right. That's why when I bought they tried upselling me when I bought my Dodge minivan.
Mhm.
It was only 2 years old. It was a repo, so I got a great deal on it.
Nice.
They kept trying to upsell me with. I said, all that stuff's going to break.
Mm-hmm.
What'd they do? They deliberately sent me to a different one. Think the electric seats didn't work? They did not work. I said, that is why I want bare bones.
Yeah.
I fix all my stuff myself. And sure enough, she's still hanging in there, but she needs replaced.
Yeah.
And that's, by God, and to Slimy's point, they made it upgradable, safety rated. You can put it in, it's going to meet all of the safety standards. You go from a standard tiny little 2-door truck, but they met the Highlanders requirements. I know because I was with the Chrysler team when they came up with the specs. It has to have, and I've said it on your show before, it's got to be able to fit a 4x8 sheet of something.
And it does.
And it does.
All right.
It does. And like Slimy was saying, you can put in at your own dime when you can afford it. That's what I keep emphasizing. When you can afford it, you can buy the extra stuff. I'm like, that's great. My credit's bad, but if I have a good job, I can buy it and then do whatever I want with it.
They got the 2 different style SUVs you can put on there. You can do crossover style, you can do full SUV. And they integrate it very well. I like that first one. Reminds me of the 80s and 90s. The red wheels. And the last one would fit in nicely today. That's just off the factory gray with the Steelies. Nice. So tell us more about this. We got a roll call. There it is. Prototype SUV, prototype truck, prototype. It's flashback again. Their social media is on point. Yes, it's a truck. Yes, it's an SUV. No, we are not.
Okay, see that picture there? I can tell you right now, that's downtown Detroit. That's an empty warehouse in downtown Detroit.
All right. This one here? I think they got something going right here. And if they got Bezos in them, they got that means that they got some level of help that you might not normally see.
Like I say, what impressed me was they're not buying anything. Okay, so Casey, the first time I went to a Tesla, when I let it's not dealerships, showroom store. It's in Toledo. It's the building's still there. Off Alexis and Telegraph Road for a bunch of legal reasons because I couldn't sell them in Michigan. Literally right on the border. Without breaking a sweat, 1.5 cigarettes later, I could make it to the Michigan border. That's why they put it there. So I go in there and I ask them for it. I got my own damn business cards and I'm broke.
Yeah.
Right? For my t-shirts, I got asking for a business card. This guy was running the Ann Arbor branch, which is now huge. I mean, it's huge. And the Toledo branch. And long story short, I'm like, well, can you give me a card? And this is before the accident.
Yeah.
Maybe afterwards. It doesn't matter. It gets out a yellow sticky pad.
Yeah.
And same thing in the Grand Rapids showroom, which I went to. Same thing in the Ann Arbor. Same thing in Chattanooga. They're not spending the money on business cards. I love that.
That's good because that means they're spending the money where it belongs. So I'm liking what I see of this so far. I'm gonna put them on my radar to keep an eye on. It did look like they.
Like I said, and they have a solid, proven team.
Yeah,
they really do. Like I said, I'm so enthusiastic. I filled out the $50 form, and that's a lot of money to me right now. It really is.
Yeah.
But in any case, so I'm like, forget it. I seem to do better in person for job interviews and whatnot when they can look at me and talk to me and feel the sincerity. People told me no. I'm just going up there.
You can buy a screen from them or just use your phone. And then they got all these different skits like that.
Yeah. I'm making myself dinner at the moment, so I'm going to try to multitask.
Yeah.
But like Tesla doesn't have business cards.
No.
But SpaceX has Elon has business cards for SpaceX.
Yeah.
Because people sell them.
Right. Because
they get his business card and they sell them for like millions of dollars on the internet.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like his he has one for he had one for he had
Like I say, Slimy.
Zip too.
Yeah, Zip too.
Sorry to interrupt, but Slimy, I got this swag bag. I'd like you to have it. We just got to figure out a way for you to get it. You're going to appreciate it so much more.
There you go.
No problem.
Many people in the past, I've asked for stickers, and I just gave them my address.
Oh
and I
yeah,
got
there's a
stickers.
Tesla sticker in it. There's a pen, a Tesla sticker. It comes in a small Tesla type. It's not a paper bag. It's a whatever, a bag. And the notebook is really nice though. That's the one thing. And I thought, no, she's gonna appreciate it a lot more because I go through a lot of notebooks, memory issues. I have to write everything down. I think you'll really enjoy it. I really do. It's nice. I mean, and they gave them away for free.
Nice. So, tell us more about the slate that you guys have got onto from what they told us. Because from what I've seen and what I've heard so far, it looks they're gonna make it as far as a desirable product. I don't know about their business.
Yeah,
but
I mean, they've got the right people. They got Sandy Monroe involved from I found out about it immediately because I got these emergency notifications like with your show and a couple of them, and I've gotten rid of almost all my YouTubers now. But I still kept Sandy's, and I met him, by the way. I didn't get him to sign my T-shirt. It's in a warehouse locked up, literally in my little fireproof safe where I keep my birth certificate and shit.
Yeah.
But I got to put that up on your show, and they got all the right people. They got the funding. Now, God help me if I get this job, because now I will be in charge of maintenance and engineering and installing the machinery. And the problem is you can't find people. And the first thing I noticed is slightly off topic. These druggies, they're missing their front teeth.
Because
I think it's meth, because I had to Google it. I thought it was fentanyl. It's meth. Yeah. But all right, disqualified. All right, you on a felony? Back in the day, that meant you got no job. Okay, great. You got an ankle bracelet? Okay, at least somebody's keeping track of you. You're hired. You're hired. You're hired. Can you hold a hammer? Can you? Yep, you're hired. You're a candidate. You're a candidate. Things are so crazy out there. I give people last night. I gave the cops right here at the Myers on Alexis Road. Popo pulls up. I'm getting a pack of cigarettes. It's like 11 o'clock at night, and they're just getting ready to close. Maybe it was 10:30. I see a cop. I go out of my way to hand her half a dozen of my business cards and tell her my story, and I'm like, I hand make them. She goes, really? I said, well, my niece makes them in Michigan in her basement, and I make mine in the downtown Toledo library. I literally do. I got to take pictures. Maybe I could sell more.
Yeah.
But we got a problem. People are trying to place orders, and they're not coming through. It's on Etsy. Apparently, all the gals know Etsy. Yeah. Everybody seems to know Etsy.
Yeah.
Boy, do they take a huge chunk out.
They sure do. What's your Etsy shop?
It's great for start businesses and arts and crafts stuff, but you got to get away from there. I got to beg Pete. I'm back in their semi-good graces or good graces. I got to beg them to borrow their website.
Yeah, I'm popping your link to your Etsy there in the chat. Bill.
Well, it's on my X post.
Okay.
And if I can't copy and paste things using my cell phone, I have to do it on and I'm in my van right now.
Okay, fine.
But yeah, I appreciate that. Next week I'll make sure I can do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that when I say they're handmade, I'll take. Oh, the other I want to give a shout out to. We were talking about chargers.
Yeah.
The downtown Toledo branch library, the main branch, they got free business classes and copyrights and Etsy small business. I mean everything. And the gal who's tutoring me, she's got an Etsy jewelry business. So I'm like, sweet, They have 4 level 2 chargers. I think I might have mentioned it one before for free. And me and this lawyer, he's a criminal lawyer. He's got an EV, so he plugs in. We keep track of the other cars. I told this Brian White, I said, I could send you the data. Well, that's kind of boring for people, so they don't want it.
Yeah.
But we keep track, and we put, I'm like, man, I don't want to touch your cars. He goes, I'm a criminal lawyer. Don't worry about it. We put little notes on, you've been here too long. Because some people, they come in there, they charge, they work, and there's a lot of high-paying government buildings right within walking distance of the downtown Toledo Library. You can look it up and Google it. And so they do that, and that's evil, in my opinion, and a lot of others. So we keep track of them, and we've noticed something. Without any violence, any protests, nothing, they stopped doing it. And there's one truck that we really love. It's a Ford Lightning. I want to jump in much earlier than this poor guy, because him and I meet up. I got his business card. I can't remember his name. About once a month, we'll meet up there and in the downtown, because I'm there almost every single day.
Yeah.
Always have lived in libraries. And there's a Ford 150 Lightning. And we're like, dear God. And this is in the middle. It's 20 degrees out, 17 degrees out. We're like, he can charge all week. And he's going to be lucky to get home. I mean, it was freezing out. And these are level twos.
Yeah.
I've taken all the snapshots and the barcodes and looked them over, but they're free.
Nice.
So that's a huge positive.
Right, so this went. Oh, turn my video on again. What? It's working? We'll use it. Moto came through, but she doesn't want to wear a shirt. So this went pretty well, working it without the notebook today. I'll do a better job next week of making sure that everybody who's got the moderator button keeps the moderator button. That way, anybody loud comes in wanting to steamroll.
I was going to bounce his butt.
Yeah, you gave him warnings, and then he wasn't picking up. But I didn't realize it took.
Yeah,
it took
I thought I was polite about it. I mean, it's Sunday. Be respectful. It's a family channel, and you could go a little bit off topic, but he was going. It's like, no, I would have thrown his butt out.
Yeah,
I really would.
But I didn't realize.
And that way, the heat's on me and not on
right.
your podcast show. You know what I mean?
Right. But what I didn't realize was that it took both you and Slimy out of the mod spot. So I didn't realize that we didn't have anybody with the keys but me. And since it's down here and I'm up on the screens, I didn't realize it. So I want to apologize to you guys.
Yeah,
and to the
when you're
audience.
trying to do YouTube, and I found that out
It is
a week ago. But I used to have my Android, and I could do like the YouTubes on Android, and then on my Apple 15, I'd do the X shows, right?
Yeah.
Well, now I'm down to just my Apple 15, and as we found out a couple weeks ago when I was in Chattanooga at the train show, you can't switch. You get kicked out.
Ooh. Yeah.
Happened to Robert. Happened to me. It happens.
It does. So like I said, next week what I'll do is I'll at least keep glancing down there if anything like that happens, and I see that somebody hasn't done anything, that I'll assume that it messed up again, and I'll bring you guys back up. So I wanted to apologize to you guys.
one
and
other
apologize
thing,
to the audience for that one.
The farther in advance you can book your room, the better.
All right. I will try to.
I've only done a couple of rooms, but I noticed, like, I'll do them on the fly, and because of some of the stuff that happened earlier, that's why I don't even like doing a room. I'll throw them out in a heartbeat. I'm not monetized. I don't worry about it.
Yeah. What I'll do is after this one, I'll try and set the next one up.
Say, like, a day after the show, they're like, I wish it, because a lot of people, they won't check their ex inbox mail or whatever
every day
for a couple of.
Uh-oh. Back to me. Where'd it go? I want to refresh one. I want the other one. All right. We'll do this then. Let's chat. Kacey, Friends, not March. April 27. Part 3. Part 2. Share the space. Islander and Slimy. Send. I didn't even leave the app. Let that come back in. But basically, this went pretty well for going without the notebook today. I still want to put some stuff in the notebook because I like the feeling of being able to reference stuff and string the topics together a little bit better. And yeah, it went well enough. I had a blast. I want to thank all of you guys for taking your time this Sunday to spend with us, and I want to thank all of our channel members for their participation because that helps out. Everything helps for the expenses this thing generates. And with that, I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm going to go ahead and end the YouTube stream, and then I'll pull the X stream out after they get back in, or however it goes. But we'll catch you next week, and I thank you.